Chapter 926. The old monk was Master Yuan Jing of the Prajna Temple. On this continent, the Prajna Temple was second only to the demon-subduing temple among the Buddhist forces. On the heavenly law ranking, Master Yuan Jing was ranked in the top 30. He was not far from Ding Lai, Miu, and the others. His battle prowess was almost on par with Fong Jingqiang. Taoist graphite was not even worthy of carrying his shoes. Today, he had accepted Fong Jingqiang's invitation and brought 30 Foundation Establishment Realm disciples to assist him in slaying Jiang Tian. Freedom Prajna Art. Buddhist handprint. Die for this poor monk. At this moment, Master Yuan Jing suddenly opened his eyes and pushed out a 100-meter-long golden palm from the sky. 10,000 snakes. Let the little kid on earth know how powerful the snake sect is. There was also a seductive woman in red standing on top of a building. Her skin was fair, her chest was high, and her slender waist was very attractive. Her earrings kept twisting. If one looked closely, they were actually small colorful snakes. Under her command, red, green, and white mutated snakes flapped their fleshy wings and shot towards Jiang Tian like whistling arrows from the woods and meadows within 3 miles of the Jade Well Peak. She was the sect master of the snake sect, someone who wasn't inferior to the peak lords of the main peaks in the Demon Cave Mountain. Later, she was conquered by Fong Jingqiang and became his disciple, living in a barren city. In this wave of attack, battleships, chariots, and buildings moved together. Tens of thousands of overlords attacked Jiang Tian together. Their dharma treasures covered the sky and sword auras were everywhere, attacking from all directions. It could be said to be an inescapable net. There was no chance for him to dodge at all. Why isn't Tai Chu dodging? I'm afraid even a sect master like Miu wouldn't be able to block it. Seeing this, Jiang Haishan's heart skipped a beat, as if he had fallen into an abyss. He definitely can't block it. Even my master can't block it. He's going to die. Fairy Miao Yi's face was pale and her head was buzzing. Her beautiful eyes were filled with tears and she was about to cry. This time, he'll definitely die. The corners of Chu Yunxiu's mouth twitched crazily, her eyes feverish. Even more people were dumbfounded. Their mouths were wide open, but they couldn't make a single sound. Such an attack was like a raging wave that swept through the world like a hurricane, and it destroyed everything in its path. This kind of destructive power was simply too terrifying. Not even a false core cultivator could withstand a single strike. It could destroy cities and sects in an instant. This was the strength of the regular army of the cultivation world. All kinds of demons and ghosts had to submit to him. Perhaps only those in the later stage of the Golden Core realm could survive. Fong Jingqiang, is this your trump card? I'm so disappointed. But when faced with the surging pressure, Jiang Tian seemed as if a cool breeze had brushed past his face, and his expression was indifferent and calm like an ancient well without ripples. Seal. Following Jiang Tian's soft shout, a surge of golden seal energy soared into the sky. With him as the center, it exploded in an instant and swept in all directions, pushing the 9 heavens and 10 earths crazily. The boundless seal energy seemed to be endless and kept pushing forward. In the end, with Jiang Tian as the center, a huge golden ball with a radius of half a mile burst out. And within this golden sphere of restriction, numerous spear-like arrows, numerous flying swords, numerous magic treasures. All of them were suspended in the air in astonishment, motionless. Even the thunderbolt cannonballs, which were known for their fierceness and violence, were frozen there. Those thunderbolts were still in a threatening posture, but they couldn't move forward at all. Even the tens of thousands of colorful and gorgeous mutated poisonous snakes were suspended in the air with dumbfounded looks in their eyes. They even opened their bloody mouths and spat out their scarlet forked tongues, maintaining the posture of flapping their wings and flying away. Hiss! In an instant, everyone at the scene gasped and was dumbfounded as if they had seen a ghost. How is this possible? The eyes of tens of thousands of soldiers almost popped out, and they were so scared that their weapons fell to the ground. At this time, Jiang Tian was using a real immortal magic art, not some true essence or aura. This golden ball was full of golden light, and runes were floating on it. It was magnificent and extremely tough. Even if a golden core cultivator attacked with all his strength, he might not be able to break it. Isn't he an ant on Earth? How can he be proficient in such a perfected immortal magic art? Seeing this, Wu Xiodar exclaimed. He had also felt the power of Jiang Tian's seal. It was able to freeze his black water saber art in an instant. At that time, he was already shocked. But he didn't expect that Jiang Tian's seal was 10 times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times more powerful than before. Where did he come from? Is he the reincarnation of the old devil? Li Hongyu was so scared that her face turned pale and she almost peed on the spot. The drumstick fell on her foot, and she grimaced in pain. These battleships, cloud towers, chariots, and Dharma artifacts were all from the ruins of an ancient battlefield. They contained surging power and had surpassed the current level of crafting in the heavenly star small world. But they couldn't kill Jiang Tian. All the attacks were blocked by Jiang Tian. It was simply too shocking. This bastard is so powerful. Chu Yunxiu was also shocked. Her face was as pale as paper, and she was dumbfounded. Cold sweat poured down her face as if she had seen a ghost. What are you waiting for? Kill him again. I don't believe we can't kill him. Fang Jingqiang stood on the desolate border's bronze chariot's head, roaring like a wild beast. Many soldiers looked up and couldn't help but be frightened. They saw that Jiang Tian had already rushed to the sky. He stepped in the air and rushed towards everyone like a ray of light. He walked in the air, and the 9 main flying swords circled around him. They turned into a ray of light that shot to the sky and attacked everyone. As for the golden ball, it was controlled by Jiang Tian's invisible spiritual power and floated behind him. Attack! The fear in the hearts of many soldiers of the barren city turned into sharp murderous intent. They activated their Dharma artifacts again. But Jiang Tian didn't give them a chance. It was all too late. Jiang Tian's 9 flying swords, under the control of his immortal will, suddenly merged into a 10-meter-long giant flying sword and swept across the sky. Instantly, a 3,000-meter-long giant sword light swept across the sky. It was extremely dazzling. This sword light was extremely dazzling. At this moment, there seemed to be nothing else in the world except for this sword. The sword light seemed to be able to sweep across the 9 heavens and 10 earths, suppressing all the heavens and carrying the supreme majesty. It was engraved with countless runes and talismans, and it contained endless vital essence. It was vast, surging, and extremely sharp. It swept across and nothing could stop it. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Many bronze battleships, which could withstand nuclear explosions, were slashed by the sword light as if they were made of mud. If time stopped at this moment, people would find that the cross-sections of the bronze as thick as city walls were as smooth as mirrors and could even reflect the scenery. The sword light moved forward without any hindrance. In just a second, it went from left to right and swept across 50 ancient battleships. Countless immortal state warriors and cultivators, including those at the peak stage of the Qi refinement realm and the foundation establishment level, couldn't withstand it. Many people were cut in half at the waist. Blood gushed out like tides and their bodies fell to the ground silently. Jiang Tian's sword had killed 1,000 people. On the battleships, some cultivators who were lucky enough to survive were covered in cold sweat. They hurried to escape on small flying swords, boats, and other small flying Dharma artifacts. Son of a bitch! Go and eat. Jiang Tian smiled. He's here, master. The old dragon stood up and transformed into the true form of a purple-gold true dragon. Then he soared into the sky. He was over 300 meters long, and his dragon scales flickered with an intimidating cold light. He opened his mountain-like mouth and sucked in a breath. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Many cultivators and martial artists were swallowed into his stomach amidst their screams and wails. Fresh. The cultivators of the heavenly star small world are indeed different. They're so chewy. He held a 1-meter-long spicy strip in one of his front paws and swung the other claws quickly. He grabbed a person and stuffed him into his mouth, chewing and swallowing loudly while praising loudly. Then, the broken runes, reaction power furnaces, and magical equipment on the battleship exploded uncontrollably. The enormous energy and magical power contained in them exploded uncontrollably. Boom, boom. The earth-shattering explosions were heavy and shocking. A series of incomparably dazzling flames lit up as if a series of supernova explosions had occurred. Violent energy swept out in all directions, causing the earth to tremble and mountains to tremble. Even the void was annihilated. And this earth-shattering explosion was only the first note of Jiang Tian's high-spirited battle song. The old dragon was blown hundreds of meters away by the violent airwaves and fell into a mountain with a boom. A moment later, he flew out unsteadily as if he were drunk. He looked at the shattered cultivators in his claws and said gloomily, "They're not tasty anymore." When Jiang Tian took the second step, he was thousands of meters away in a flash. He was like an awe-inspiring god of war, hovering above the largest ancient battleship. Both of his hands pushed out a vast amount of zhenyuan, holding a sword and slashing down with all his might. "You can't kill me, ant from earth!" Fang Jingqiang roared angrily. The blood in his body surged and his body expanded to 20 meters in an instant. He held the azure dragon flaming saber in his hand and blocked the attack. At the same time, he took out a bronze mirror that floated above his head. It emitted endless light and formed a golden shield that completely enveloped him. The runes on his armor flickered and flickered. 7 or 8 protective Dharma treasures, including jade pendants, waist tags, necklaces and even spirit treasures, surged with Dharma powers and bloomed with colorful lights. In an instant, strange phenomena appeared. Fang Jingqiang used all his cultivation and many Dharma treasures to block Jiang Tian's attack. But under Jiang Tian's stunning attack, all resistance were useless. Chapter 927. Jiang Tian's sword was sharp to the extreme, nothing could block it. It hacked down like lightning. The bronze mirror was also a spiritual artifact, but it only lasted for 3 seconds before it was cut in half and fell to the ground. The azure dragon flaming saber and other protective shields were even more vulnerable. They were easily cut in half by Jiang Tian's sword aura. The long saber and many protective magical artifacts suffered from the backlash and cracked or exploded, turning into dust. The sharp curved sword aura was like a cutting machine that could cut through everything. "Immortal Master Jiang, don't kill me. I can tell you the location of the ancient ruins." At the last moment, Fang Jingqiang was finally scared. He begged with a face full of fear. "Even if you don't tell me, I can still find out." Jiang Tian sneered and the sword aura in his hand slashed down mercilessly. The sharp sword aura cut through Fang Jingqiang's golden helmet like a knife cutting through water. It went straight down to his crotch and still didn't slow down. With a sharp sound, the lower part of the ancient warship was penetrated, leaving a shocking wound. So powerful? Fang Jingqiang's body suddenly shrank to the size of an ordinary person. He held the broken saber in his hand and stood there stiffly with a look of shock and disbelief on his face. Jiang Tian landed on the bronze warship and looked at Fang Jingqiang with disdain. An invisible black soul appeared between Jiang Tian's eyebrows and invaded Fang Jingqiang's mind like lightning, searching all his memories. "City Lord, why are you still standing there? Fight back and kill this bastard." The enemy who killed her brother was close at hand. Li Hongyu's murderous intent was aroused. She looked at Jiang Tian with red eyes and shouted angrily. But in the next moment, her angry rebuke turned into a tragic cry, and she let out an incomparably shrill cry. A line of blood appeared on Fang Jingqiang's forehead and kept spreading down. The line of blood became bigger and bigger. Suddenly, blood gushed out like a waterfall and then his body exploded. Bang, bang, bang. Armors, clothes, blood, broken bones, minced flesh, skin, hair, limbs. They fell like a heavy downpour. The ugly head fell into Li Hongyu's arms. "Jie." The woman held it in her hands and looked at it. Immediately, her limbs convulsed and her delicate body convulsed violently. She urinated and defecated. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted. In the blink of an eye, the entire place was dead silent. Even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Around Jade Well Peak, within a radius of 10 li, there were over 10,000 people on the battlefield. None of them said a word. Whether it was the border baron army, the experts watching the battle, or even Jiang Tian's comrades, everyone was shocked. They were dumbfounded, and their faces were full of shock and astonishment. Fake core expert, butcher, desolate borders city lord, Li Longyuan's honorary disciple, Fang Jingqiang, had been killed by Jiang Tian's sword. In this battle, Jiang Tian had only attacked a few times. However, it was as though he was crushing dry weeds. He annihilated the fiend celestials, slaughtered humans, killed thousands of people and suppressed tens of thousands of soldiers. Such a battle record was simply unprecedented. It was like a legend, and it was inconceivable. Fang Jingqiang and the desolate border army actually lost? Master Yuan Jing spoke with difficulty, his voice hoarse and dry. Fang Jingqiang is already at the perfected fake core realm. Furthermore, he has the secret technique of summoning demons and possesses the strength to destroy cities and mountains. Yet, he lost to Kang Teichu? The sect master of Snake Desire sect had shock and fear written all over her seductive face. As for the other experts, they were all silent. Since Jiang Tian had the strength to shake the desolate border city, he was probably not far from overturning the Heavenly Star Palace. This world was really going to undergo a great change. What should they do and how should they decide? It was truly a headache. Clatter. The desolate border soldiers had dazed gazes and were filled with fear. Dazed, the spears and bows in their hands fell to the ground one after another. The surging battle intent of the tens of thousands of soldiers vanished without a trace in an instant, as though they were removing firewood from the bottom of a cauldron. In the army, Fang Jingqiang worshipped everyone. In the eyes of these soldiers, he was like a god. But now, he was killed by Jiang Tian's sword. Everyone's souls trembled in extreme fear. We won't accept this. We will fight for the righteous path, for the peace of the Heavenly Star small world, for the City Lord's revenge, and for the City Lord's death. We will fight you to the end. In the silence, only a tall and burly general on the Intrepid waved his blade and roared, his battle intent surging. This person was Fang Jingqiang's clansman and old friend. He had once received Fang Jingqiang's kindness and was loyal and would rather die than surrender. In truth, this Intrepid was only second to the City Lord's worship in terms of size, dermic powers, and offensive power. Above it were 300 generals and soldiers. They were the sons of the desolate border cities' officials, aristocratic families, and the greedy class. They were Fang Jingqiang's death warriors. Everyone understood the principle that without the skin, where would the hair be attached to? Every revolution was a great purge of the greedy class. After this, Jiang Tian would definitely kill them all. At this moment, they all roared like thunder and drove the ancient bronze worship toward Jiang Tian. Stubborn? Then I'll fulfill your wish. Jiang Tian faintly smiled, his eyes cold. The huge golden orb floating in the air rapidly shrunk under his control and shot towards the Intrepid battleship. In the blink of an eye, it arrived near the Intrepid. The golden restriction sphere had already shrunk to 0.5 meter in diameter. Primal chaos surged and released a dazzling radiance, containing an enormous amount of energy. In the blink of an eye, the moment Jiang Tian removed the restriction, the berserk energy contained within instantly exploded. Flames soared into the sky, lightning crackled, and black smoke roiled. A giant mushroom cloud 1 kilometer in diameter soared into the sky. In an instant, the Intrepid was melted into molten bronze and scattered in all directions. When the billowing dust scattered, the sky was calm. Not even a drop of dust remained of the cultivators. The Intrepid had been completely swept clean. This was the result of resisting concealment immortal master. All the soldiers and generals on the bronze war chariots realized this. Fear was contagious. The 10 cloud towers, the final trump card of the desolate border army, had all submitted. When they saw the Intrepid being swept clean, how could the martial artists on the bronze war chariots persist? Spare us! Concealment immortal master, spare us! We are all children of poor families. We only joined the army to make a living. They all threw away their weapons, some even taking off their armor and helmets. They prostrated on the ground, trembling in submission. The defensive abilities of these war chariots were on the same level as the warships, but they were still destroyed by Jiang Tian's sword. Sanskrit Temple's high monk, Yuan Jing, was so frightened that he crushed his prayer beads. Then he prostrated himself deeply, saying with a trembling voice, "I never thought that Concealment Immortal Master's cultivation would be so heaven-defying. Sanskrit Temple is willing to submit and follow you for a grand plan." To be able to kill a false core cultivator with a single sword, completely suppressing them, this kind of battle prowess already surpassed golden core cultivators. If he continued fighting, he would only be cannon fodder. None of them would be able to take a single blow. My Serpent Sect is also willing to follow Concealment Immortal Master. From today onwards, my Serpent Sect will follow Absolute Beginning Immortal Master. If you have any orders, we will follow without question. The head of the Serpent Sect, that flirtatious woman, also trembled and prostrated on the ground. "We're willing to follow Absolute Beginning Immortal Master." Then, the many experts on the 10 cloud towers seemed to have suddenly reacted and prostrated on the ground, trembling. They were afraid that they would be killed by Jiang Tian with a flick of his finger if they were a second late. "Didn't you say that you wanted to kill me? Why are you suddenly submitting now?" Jiang Tian glanced at the experts on the cloud tower with interest and said with a cold smile, "Please allow me to report, Concealment Immortal Master." The abbot of Sanskrit Temple put his palms together and lowered his head, smiling bitterly. Li Longyuan's actions were already unpopular and we didn't accept it at all. However, we were afraid of his power and couldn't see any hope of winning. We were also threatened by Fang Jingqiang, so we had no choice but to become your enemy. I'm a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator and I'm proficient in Buddhist psyche divine powers. I'm willing to serve Absolute Beginning Immortal Master. I only beg Immortal Master Jiang to spare this old man's life. Absolute Beginning Immortal Master, we're sincerely submitting to you. The seductive cult leader of the Serpent Desire sect gazed at him with her beautiful eyes. "Now that we've seen Master Kang's power, we won't follow you anymore. We'll conquer a great land together. Wouldn't we be fools then? Absolute Beginning Immortal Master, please lead us to break this unfair world and restore the glory of Tianxing." "Ha, you used to belong to the Demon Cave Mountain, but you betrayed us and betrayed us. You deserve to be killed." Jiang Tian nodded and looked at the peak masters of the Demon Cave Mountain who had betrayed him. "It's too late. We made the wrong choice." After witnessing Jiang Tian's overwhelming power, the peak leaders' faces turned pale from fright. Especially Zhou Huijin, Zhao Muyang and some other juniors. Even if they were elites, they were so scared that they even peed their pants. Meanwhile, the other peak masters were terrified and regretful. They even wanted to slap themselves in the face. Who said that Kang Taichu was only at the second level of the foundation establishment level and that he only relied on pills and secret arts to increase his power? That was bullshit. Mieyu, you've screwed me over. What kind of pills and secret arts could last so long? What kind of pills could make Jiang Tian fight the 8-armed fiend god and kill Fang Jingqiang with a slash? That's impossible. No matter how strong Kang Taichu was, he clearly had the strength to fight a fake core cultivator or even a golden core cultivator. Absolute Beginning Immortal Master, we were blind. Please forgive us. We're willing to submit to the Demon Cave Mountain and help you guard the border cities. Absolute Beginning Immortal Master, we were wrong. You're in need of people. We're willing to serve you." When Jiang Tian's cold gaze swept over, the peak masters couldn't hold on any longer and fell to their knees one after another, kowtowing to Jiang Tian as if they were pounding garlic. "You can submit to me." Jiang Tian pondered for a while and said calmly, "You've already betrayed me. It's hard for me to trust you. You have to sign a divine soul contract with me. If you betray me again, I'll make sure you'll never be reincarnated." "We're willing," everyone's expression turned bitter. They hesitated for a moment, but in the end, they still chose to kowtow and submit. Once they signed a divine soul contract, they would become Jiang Tian's slaves. They wouldn't dare to disobey and they wouldn't have a chance to resist. In order to save their lives, they had no other choice but to be Jiang Tian's slaves forever. Chapter 928. Jiang Tian's divine sense moved, and dozens of black soul devourers' divine senses spread out like tentacles, burrowing into their minds and settling down quietly. These soul devourers' divine senses were intelligent and could monitor their every move at any time. If they betrayed Jiang Tian, they would not be able to escape death even if they fled to the ends of the earth or even left this small world. This was because the soul devourers' divine senses could quickly devour their divine senses without the command of Jiang Tian's main divine sense. They could kill them directly or completely occupy their bodies, turning them into walking corpses. Immortal Master Jiang, what about me? I also want to make a divine soul contract with you and be your slave. Among the crowd, only Wu Xiuda was prostrating on the deck of the chariot, trembling like a quail. His face was full of flattery as he spoke in a low voice. At this moment, his endless killing intent and hatred had turned into cold sweat. He had never thought that Jiang Tian would be able to fight the army of the borderlands alone. Under such circumstances, Jiang Tian definitely had the strength to challenge Li Longyuan. He regretted it so much. He was really out of his mind. Why did he have to avenge his son? Wu Tengying was not his only son. He had more than a dozen sons. Besides, if his sons died, he could always have more. Just now, Jiang Tian did not place any soul devourer in his mind and did not make a divine soul contract with him. He was so scared that he almost wet his pants. He knew that Jiang Tian might kill him. You're not worthy to be my slave. Jiang Tian's eyes were cold as he pointed at Wu Xiuda. Bang! Wu Xiuda didn't even have the chance to beg for mercy before his body exploded. Sparkling and translucent flesh and blood rained down like a heavy rain. We congratulate the Tai Chu Celestial Master on defeating the Borderlands and achieving immortality. We're willing to die to find the Tai Chu Celestial Master and fight Li Longyuan to the death. Many Peak Masters, Cave Masters, Fort Masters, Master Yuan Jing, the Snake Sect's leader, and the experts of the Li River Sword sect were so scared that they trembled. They kowtowed to Jiang Tian and congratulated him respectfully. Since that's the case, all of you will be reorganized. Jiang Tian nodded and said in a loud voice, Jiang Haishan, Ing Luo, Xiao Beishan, Stinking Monkey, lead the soldiers and detain these people. Then we'll screen them one by one. The elites and talents among them who are sincerely willing to join us can stay. The rest of the diehards were either killed or crippled. For those with mediocre aptitude, disarm them and return to their fields. We won. The Grand Primordium Immortal Master won. We won. On Jade Well Peak, many of the defending troops were jubilant. Jiang Haishan Yitianren and the other strong practitioners led the crowd of heroes. He stepped on his sword and soared into the sky to take over the warships, chariots, and cloud towers. He then escorted the captives to the dungeon. Chu Yunxiu, do you still think your Chu clan has a chance to make a comeback? On the banks of the Luyin River, Jiang Yunha cast a sidelong glance at the pale and shivering Chu Yunxiu. You also said that the Concealment Immortal Master was at the second level of Foundation establishment and relied on medicinal pills to forcefully increase his cultivation? What kind of pill or secret technique can last for so long? How is it possible to kill a false core expert in one strike? Could he be a gold core expert? Chu Yunxiu stared at Jiang Tian in the sky, dumbfounded. She was in a daze as if she didn't hear his words. Relying on medicinal pills to forcefully increase one's cultivation had many drawbacks and limitations. Take the Qi Explosion pill for example. Taking several of them could increase one's cultivation by a large margin, such as from the middle stage to the late stage of foundation establishment. But generally speaking, the effect of the pill could only last for a day or even a few hours. And after the effect of the pill wore off, the cultivator's cultivation would definitely drop by a large margin. It would take a few years for the cultivator to recover. Moreover, before the cultivator's cultivation recovered, they couldn't continuously take pills. Otherwise, they would lose all their cultivation and even explode. Jiang Tian had already shown his false core cultivation by the Blackwater Lake once. If he really relied on medicinal pills to forcefully increase his cultivation, then this time, it was absolutely impossible for him to show battle prowess surpassing the false core level. "Answer me, you blind bitch." Jiang Yunhe sneered and slapped Chu Yunxiu's face. He scolded coldly, "You still say my Jiang clan's choice is stupid? In my opinion, you're the biggest idiot." Chu Yunxiu was slapped to the ground. Her face was swollen, but she didn't feel any pain on her face. She only felt a strong sense of regret churning in her heart and rushing to the top of her head. Her tears almost flowed out. That's right, compared to the physical pain, what she felt was even more severe was the mental torture. One had to know that the first time Jiang Tian came to the Demon Cave Mountain, he relied on the Jade Well Peak. If she had discerning eyes at that time, then right now, they would be Jiang Tian's favorites, suppressing the other peaks. When Jiang Tian conquered the Heavenly Star Palace, as a meritorious elder, as a meritorious official, their Chu clan would be just around the corner. Any cultivation techniques and resources would be easily obtained. However, she repeatedly disrespected and humiliated him without repentance. In the end, she walked to the opposite side of Jiang Tian. She was beyond redemption. Recalling the scene of her repeatedly provoking and humiliating Jiang Tian, she was so scared that her face turned pale and her delicate body trembled uncontrollably. Now, even if she wanted to rely on Jiang Tian, it was too late. She was no longer of any use. I must think of a way. I must think of a way to kill Jiang Tian and take back the Jade Well Peak. This crazy idea surged in Chu Yunxiu's mind and couldn't be dismissed. Yes, find him. Only by finding him can we suppress Kong Teichu and take back the Jade Well Peak. We can even take over the entire Demon Cave Mountain. Suddenly, her eyes lit up as she thought of a terrifying existence that could shake this continent. She was extremely excited. As Jiang Tian and the others finished cleaning up the battlefield, some cultivators and forces who came to help were invited by Jiang Haishan to the Jade Well Peak to pay a visit to Jiang Tian. The other cultivators who were watching the battle couldn't hide their excitement. Suppressing the shock in their hearts, they talked about the details of the battle and left one after another. However, Fairy Miao Yi didn't move for a long time. She stood stiffly on a mountain peak. She looked at the back view of Jiang Tian, who was escorted by many experts with a complicated expression. She wanted to say something but didn't. From the beginning to the end, Jiang Tian didn't even look at her. It was as if she was just a mass of air. Noticing this detail, Fairy Miao Yi's beautiful eyes misted over. She felt wronged and depressed. In fact, since the start of the battle, she had never shown the slightest bit of disrespect or hostility towards Jiang Tian. All she showed was that she was worried. However, the basis of her worry was her suspicion of Jiang Tian's strength. She thought that Jiang Tian didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He's the kind of person who's very proud. What he needs is a woman who can fight side by side with him with determination. But I actually doubted his strength. In his eyes, I must be very laughable. Fairy Miao Yi's heart was filled with mixed feelings. She sighed with reddened eyes and staggered on her flying sword to leave the Jade Well Peak. A few hours later, when the news of the battle in Border City was spread to the outside world through the mouths of many cultivators, it was like a flood breaking the dike and flowing for thousands of miles. The three words Kong Teichu shook the wilderness and caused the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. The entire Heavenly Star small world was deeply shocked. Fang Jingqiang is personally leading the battle and the army of Border City is pressing down. How can a mere ant from Earth and a piece of trash like Jiang Haishan fight against them? Yes, according to some people who have met Kong Teichu, his cultivation is at the second level of the foundation establishment stage. Second level of the foundation establishment stage. He can't even withstand a single blow. City Lord Fang is making a mountain out of a molehill. He actually sent out a warship and thousands of troops. This is too much of a bully. He's giving them too much face. It's not worth watching. This is a one-sided massacre without any suspense. Fang Jingqiang is going to kill them like killing chickens, right? When they heard about the battle, many people had such an opinion. They were not interested and didn't even bother to go to Jade Well Peak to watch the battle. But when the news came, everyone was stunned and felt as if they had been slapped in the face. How is that possible? Jiang Taichu, an ant from Earth, can actually kill the 8-armed devil god, sweep away 50 warships with one sword, and kill Butcher Fang Jingqiang with one sword. Everyone cried out in alarm. Their voices were hoarse, as if their chrysanthemums had been burst. It must be a rumor. Fang Jingqiang had a pseudo-core cultivation and was known as the Human Butcher. He was the city lord of a giant city. Not only did he obtain an ancient demonic art inheritance, but he also received personal guidance from Li Longyuan. How could he have been killed by Jiang Taichu's sword? Many people didn't believe it at all. I was on the battlefield at that time. How can it be fake? In a certain mission hall, the leader of the rumbling heaven mercenaries was drunk. When he heard these discussions, he glared with bloodshot eyes and loudly shouted, "Let's go!" This Jiang Taichu's strength has reached an unimaginable level. He's completely crushing the border city. Whoever dares to be disrespectful to my lord, don't blame me for being merciless. After Fang Jingqiang's army was defeated, only thousands of cultivators and warriors were left to defend border city. Jiang Tian immediately gave the order to attack the city. Many peak masters and sect masters led their armies forward and swiftly defeated the remnants of the desolate border army, firmly occupying the desolate border city. The mighty sky mercenaries also participated in the battle. As soon as these words came out, a group of people were stunned. Hiss! I didn't expect Master Immortal Jiang Taichu to be so strong. He's so terrifying. Everyone was so shocked that they felt as if they had a toothache. The whole place was filled with the sound of people sucking in cold air. Chapter 929. The Crushing Sky Mercenary Group had always been known for being reliable and trustworthy. Of course, he wouldn't lie. That's right. This battle was simply brilliant and full of twists and turns. Immortal Master Concealment was unstoppable. Next to him, the leader of the Flying Rainbow Bounty Hunters, who was hugging 2 young women from the Spring Fragrance Brothel, said calmly. Many chariots and cloud towers were all seized by Kang Taichu. The battle was quite fruitful. We, the Flying Rainbow Bounty Hunters, each received a reward of 1 million low-grade 5 crystal stones. Now, Desolate City belongs to Immortal Master Kang Taichu. Chao Meng is the city lord, and the brothers who participated in the battle will all be rewarded. In the future, when I become an official, the position of the chief of the investigation department in Desolate City will be mine. Immortal Master Kang Taichu has already taken over Desolate City. Next to him, an old Chi refinement cultivator's legs trembled. This news was too shocking. This meant that Kang Taichu would lead the Demon Cave Mountain to attack the city and fight to the death with the Heavenly Star Palace. This was an earth-shattering event that would turn the Heavenly Star small world upside down. A young man slammed the table and said excitedly, "Let's do it. Rise up in revolt, work together to achieve great things, and do something big together. Kill Li Longyuan and take over the Heavenly Star Palace. Brothers, give me a hand." However, the other cultivators remained silent and remained in a wait-and-see position. A young Taoist muttered, "The Heavenly Star Palace's palace master Li Longyuan is a golden core cultivator. Kang Taichu is an abandoned person from Earth. Even if he's talented, he's limited by resources. I'm afraid he's only a false core cultivator. How can he be a match for Li Longyuan?" Not to mention, there are also the Feather Guard and many elders and sections. They're all at the false core level. As soon as this was said, everyone nodded. Kang Taichu could defeat Fang Jingqiang, which was considered very powerful. But compared to Li Longyuan, the difference was too great. Who said that Immortal Master Jiang must be a false core cultivator and not a golden core cultivator? The leader of the Crushing Heavens mercenaries shouted loudly. Immortal Master Jiang is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime cultivation genius with unfathomable depths. It's very likely that he will replace Li Longyuan and become the master of this space. Now, he was already a fanatical fan of Jiang Tian, and he couldn't bear to hear anyone questioning Jiang Tian. What? Kong Taechu is not at the second level of foundation establishment, but at the false core stage or even higher. This priestess desireless is too ridiculous. It was simply nonsense. This has killed Fang Jingqiang. That's right. If Fang Jingqiang knew about Kong Taechu's true cultivation, he would never have advanced so rashly. You've done a lot of harm. What a jinx. Many people were very depressed after hearing this news and despised Priestess Desireless. Some of the powerful cultivators who were close to Fang Jingqiang even cursed Priestess Desireless and her 18 generations of ancestors 100 times. When these rumors reached the Heartless sect, Priestess Desireless was also very shocked. She felt as if her face had been slapped swollen. Miaoi, is Kong Taechu a false core cultivator? Priestess Desireless' charming face was full of frost as she asked coldly. Miaoi pondered for a moment and said with a frown, "Only higher." "How is that possible?" Priestess Desireless smiled contemptuously and said disapprovingly, "My eyes are sharp. Your master's foresight is as clear as fire. Over the past few hundred years, I have never made a mistake. How could I be wrong? Besides, Earth doesn't have the foundation to produce such a powerful cultivator. Even in the ruins of immortality, those supreme deity sects and families, there haven't been many who could reach the false core level before the age of 30 in the past few hundred years. He must have used some kind of secret evil art to forcefully raise his cultivation, but this can't be sustained. Master, Kong Taechu is the most powerful cultivator on Earth, and Li Longyuan is the most powerful cultivator in the Stellar Sky domain. Their fight has nothing to do with the Heartless sect." Miaoi thought for a moment and said respectfully, "I think it's best that we don't help either side and stay out of it." Miaoi knew that Priestess Desireless had a strange and violent temper. She was unpredictable and hard to predict. She was also very strong-willed and had never been weaker than anyone. Jiang Tian wanted her to warn Priestess Desireless, but it might cause Priestess Desireless to rebel. How could Miaoi really warn her? Otherwise, Priestess Desireless would explode on the spot and fight with Jiang Tian for 300 rounds. However, Miaoi didn't expect that Priestess Desireless would still be angered by those rumors. Kong Taechu, that little thief, is very sinister. He made me suffer endless curses, saying that I'm blind and that I'm a jinx. Priestess Desireless' eyes shot out flames of anger as she said coldly, "I must fight with Kong Taechu and expose his true colors. Let the heroes of the world see exactly how weak he, Jiang Taichu, is." "Master, don't." Miaoi turned pale with fright as she hurriedly knelt on the ground and said with tears in her eyes, "You have no grudges with Kong Taechu. Why do you have to make him your enemy? If anything happens to him, wouldn't you hurt your loved ones and delight your enemies? He rejected my marriage proposal and embarrassed me and you. Yet you're still pleading for him?" Priestess Desireless slammed the table and shouted angrily. The violent air waves caused Miaoi's delicate body to tremble slightly. "Master, Kong Taechu is really strong. You have to think twice before you act," Miaoi begged pitifully. "Strong? Even if he's at the second stage foundation establishment realm, he won't last long even if he uses elixirs, evil arts, and secret arts to forcefully raise his cultivation," Priestess Desireless said coldly. "Also, who allowed you to watch the battle this time? I heard that you even used the name of the Heartless sect to plead for him in the border city. You sure have guts. You're really mesmerized by this little thief. You even dare to disobey your master's orders. You'll face the wall for a year and not take a single step out of your room. If you dare to do this again, I'll strip you of your cultivation." Miaoi was so scared that her face turned pale. Her beautiful eyes were filled with despair. Even her master was going to make a move. Kong Taechu was really in trouble. Featherguard, within 10 days, will kill Kong Taechu. As a warning to others. When the news came, the leader of the Heavenly Star Palace's Featherguard immediately announced the news. His battle intent surged, and his arrogance soared into the sky. Many people were shocked when they heard this. The Featherguard was Li Longyuan's personal guard. There were several false core experts among them. Not only were they powerful, but they were best at hiding, ambushing, and assassinating. They were not like Fang Jingqiang, who fought face to face. With their strength and assassination methods, they could probably kill even a golden core expert. At the same time, Wild Wave City, Floating Spear City, and the Giant Sword Sect also declared war on Jiang Tian. 100,000 troops headed straight for the border cities and Demon Cave Mountain. Jiang Tian had been cultivating for 10,000 years and had conquered countless planets. He was very familiar with marching, fighting, and arranging troops. He quickly arranged everything properly. In the border cities, Elder Chao Meng was the city lord, and the peak lords of the other Mount Everest were the leaders of the various armies. However, Jiang Tian had signed a divine soul contract with the peak lords. They immediately became loyal to Jiang Tian, treating Jiang Tian as a god. Those who had passed the inspection and were capable and loyal to the Barren City Garrison Army were restored to their posts. Those stubborn interest groups were executed on the spot. As for the soldiers at the bottom, they did not support Li Longyuan and the Heavenly Star Palace at all. It could even be said that they hated them. As long as these high-ranking generals led them, they would definitely fulfill their duties and kill the enemy. As the saying goes, Lu Nanwei is not dead. To Jiang Tian, he did not care about the gains and losses of the cities and pools. His goal was to kill Li Longyuan. He did not care much about the border cities. They were just a line of defense for Jade Well Peak and Jinsong Peak. After all, Jiang Tian sincerely supported him. Jiang Tian could not let them suffer. At this time, Jiang Haishan, Jiang Yunhe, and many other members of the volunteer army had already treated Jiang Tian like a god. The scene of Jiang Tian fighting 10,000 alone and destroying the city with one sword really made them admire Jiang Tian to the extreme. Jiang Tian, who was at the center of the storm, was surprisingly calm. After defeating the 10,000 cultivators of the border cities, Jiang Tian stayed at Jade Well Peak and guided Xiao Yingluo, the Old Dragon, and Yi Tianren in their cultivation. He also refined pills to help them break through. Since setting foot on the Heavenly Star Small World, Yi Tianren's cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. It was almost a realm in a few days. According to Jiang Tian's guidance, he entered the Tao with martial arts, transformed his true qi into true essence, and quickly advanced to the late stage of foundation establishment. After all, Yi Tianren was originally the #1 person in Huaxia 100 years ago. He had the strength of the 3rd level of foundation establishment and was extremely talented. It was only because the spirit qi on earth was too thin that he was unable to break through. Now, there were many great medicines, pills, and spirit qi like rain and mist. With Jiang Tian's guidance, he was like a fish in water. In addition, Jiang Tian was busy rummaging through the treasury of Jade Well Peak every day. He turned the treasury of Jade Well Peak upside down and found many Qi dragon tendons, phoenix feathers, golden crystal threads of frost iron, refined red copper, taihao wood, cloud and grass, and other natural treasures. These natural treasures belonged to treasures from thousands of years ago. They were priceless and extremely rare. Seeing Jiang Tian pierce through layers of disguises and break through layers of restrictions to find all these things, Chu Yunxiu was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood. These were the treasures at the bottom of Jade Well Peak. They were the painstaking accumulation of their ancestors for generations, and now they were all taken by Jiang Tian. "Brother Jiang, why are you looking for these?" Xiao Yingluo asked with a smile. Now, she had already started cultivating. Her comprehension and physique were very good, and she had already laid the foundation of the 2nd level of qi refinement. She had a bit of water immortal qi, which made her seem even more clever and cute. Next to her, Chu Yunxiu was battered and exhausted. A featherless phoenix was worse than a chicken. Star crown, feather robe, and cloud shoes. In any case, we are people of status. We have to have some clothes to show off. Jiang Tian touched her little head and said with a smile, "Since you have a certain foundation in refining, I'll draw and you can weave and cut if you want to help." "Of course, that's no problem. I'm very good at making Dharma artifacts and Dharma clothes. You can give me a set." Xiao Yingluo said with a smile. "But you just have to put in the effort. I promise I'll give you a beautiful set, Jiang Tian said with a smile. Kong Teichu, you ant from Earth, you'd better let me go quickly and make me the Demon Cave Mountain Master. Chu Yunxiu was so angry that her face turned pale and she shouted angrily. Even when she was the daughter of the Peak Master, she didn't have the chance to touch these treasures. Now, she was making clothes for this bitch. Chapter 930. Slapped. Xiao Yingluo raised her hand and slapped her, causing her to stagger. She shouted angrily. Bitch, who gave you the courage to be so impudent to my brother Jiang? Even Fang Jingqiang lost to my brother Jiang. Who do you think you are? You think my brother Jiang can't bear to kill you because you're beautiful? Actually, she was a little worried. Why did big brother Jiang spare her lowly life? Could it be that he had taken a fancy to her? Kong Teichu, if you have the guts, release my restriction. I'll kill this bitch. Chu Yunxiu shouted with tears in her eyes. Come, Tsunuo, we're going to start. Jiang Tian couldn't be bothered with her. He drew a sketch and the decorations on the feather robe, star crown, and cloud shoes and started to get busy. Jiang Tian flicked his finger. He used the all-creation spiritual technique to refine weapons. The surging power fell on the golden crystal iron and shrouded it. Suddenly, the golden crystal iron continued to extend, becoming thinner and longer. The originally lumpy golden crystal iron became thinner than silk and was even close to the mustard seed level. It was almost invisible. The thickness of silk was one strand, but there were also strands thinner than silk, such as Hu, Miao, Chen, Ai, Mo, and mustard seed. Jiang Tian used the all-creation spiritual technique to change the material form and roughly stretch the golden crystal iron to the Mo level. Then he folded it and tempered it thousands of times. He also branded it with all kinds of strange and small talismans, making it extremely soft and slender. This is the strongest golden crystal iron, but it can be pulled into a silk thread. Chu Yunxiu was stunned and couldn't believe it. Even if she hated Jiang Tian, she had to admit that Jiang Tian's refining skills were unprecedented. At least, it had never appeared in the heavenly star small world. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and weave cloth for me. Jiang Tianfei raised his leg and kicked Chu Yunxiu several meters away. She's used to being a missy. She's too lazy and can't differentiate between the 4 limbs and the 5 grains. I suspect she doesn't know how to needlework. Xiao Yingluo added, using her true essence to control the threads of the golden crystal iron, making them float in the air. This tyrant, this demon king, will be killed sooner or later. Let's see how long you can be so arrogant. Chu Yunxiu gnashed her teeth in hatred. She wanted nothing more than to tear Jiang Tian into pieces. But under Jiang Tian's tyranny, he could only crawl up and cooperate with Xiao Yingluo to control the golden crystal iron threads, weaving them into cloth. Then, Jiang Tian performed the spiritual art of creation again and stretched the Qi Dragon's tendons until they were thin and long. He refined them again and again. Finally, he wove them together with the phoenix's feathers into a feather cloak. This feather robe was truly extravagant and noble. Chu Yunxiu was dumbfounded. Her beautiful eyes lit up. One must know that ordinary feather clothes were usually made of golden silk and red-crowned crane feathers. Sometimes, it was just ordinary white crane feathers and silk. They were just for show. But this one was made of Qi Dragon's tendons, golden crystal iron, and hundreds of phoenix feathers. Not to mention the effort involved, the speed and attack enhancement, as well as the protective talismans. Just these raw materials alone were priceless. Then, Jiang Tian began to forge the star crown. Jiang Tian found a large furnace and put in many flaming crystals that could burn at high temperatures. He heated the red copper essence until it turned red. After refining and cold quenching, he first forged a dozen hammers. Then, Jiang Tian swung one of the hammers at the rest of the red copper essence. Clang, 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 clang. Large clusters of sparks erupted between the iron hammer and the iron felt. The rumbling sound lingered in the air, like the ancient bell of an ancient temple, shaking everyone's eardrums to the point of buzzing. Luo, take a rest. Bashan, come and forge. Jiang Tian said with a smile. Xiao Yingluo and Chu Yunxiu retreated together. Okay. Xiao Ba Shan came up eagerly. The 49 Chaos Gale Hammer technique that Jiang Tian had taught him appeared in his mind. He swung the hammer according to the blueprint that Jiang Tian had provided and smashed it on the red copper essence. Oh my god! Brother Jiang is so awesome. This is not only a way to forge weapons, but also a way to cultivate. As he struck, Xiao Ba Shan felt the true essence in his body constantly surging, condensing and vigorous. He couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder and hit with more vigor. Suddenly, Jiang Tian raised his hand and slapped Chu Yunxiu again. He shouted angrily, "Slacking off! Did I tell you to back off? Didn't you see so many hammers? Should I have prepared a few for you?" Chu Yunxiu's nose was bleeding from the slap, and tears of grievance and resentment welled up in her eyes. But under the tyranny of the great demon king, she could only follow Jiang Tian's instructions and start swinging the hammer. But after a while, she was panting and sweating profusely. She frowned and said, "Why is this hammer so heavy? It's at least a few thousand pounds. I added a gravity talisman. What did you think?" Jiang Tian swung the hammer faster and faster, matching the rhythm of his breathing and heartbeat. It was very rhythmic. In the end, he took off his clothes, revealing a jade-like upper body full of strength and crystal clear. He was sweating profusely. His hammer couldn't be seen clearly anymore. It turned into a black light and covered the whole iron felt. So beautiful! Xiao Yingluo's eyes widened and her saliva almost flowed out. She didn't know if it was because of Jiang Tian's figure or because of his forging skills. Suddenly, all the movement stopped abruptly. A bald sledgehammer was thrown out. The head of the hammer turned red, as if it had just been smelted at a high temperature and was still emitting a scorching aura. "Change the hammer!" Jiang Tian shouted. "It's coming!" Only then did Xiao Yingluo react. Because of Jiang Tian's high frequency of impact and forging, the head of the hammer had been seriously worn and raised to a very high temperature. It couldn't be used anymore. She couldn't help but admire Jiang Tian to the extreme. It was simply amazing. Not to mention her family's divine craftsman hall, even the top and famous forging halls in Heavenly Star Small World, such as Hammerhead Castle and Xiao Show Building, were simply rubbish compared to Jiang Tian. Taking the new hammer from Xiao Yingluo, Jiang Tian weighed it and then blasted it out with a bang. After a day and a night of forging, the 10 hammers were all worn out, and the forging continued. Finally, it's done. A hint of joy flashed in Jiang Tian's eyes. There was a pile of extremely delicate parts on the iron felt. There were hundreds of them, exuding a strange golden luster. Jiang Tian's heart moved. With a few light sounds, these parts automatically floated in the air and then meshed with each other as if they were alive, turning into a glittering golden star crown. There were 7 stars on this star crown. Each star could be separated from the star crown and turned into an attack. It was very sharp and could be retracted. In addition, the star crown contained more than 900 small components that could be deformed at will. It could even instantly turn into a helmet to cover the face and defend against attacks from any direction. Above the 7 peaks of the crown, 7 long golden hooks could be extended. They were extremely sharp, like knives and hooks. They were connected to the star crown by interlocking golden chains, but they were very soft and could lock others. This was not only a star crown, but also an attack magic weapon. Later, with the cooperation of several people, Jiang Tian used the Taihao wood as the base, the dragon tendons, cold iron and golden crystal threads to weave, inlaid with many 6 crystal stones, and sacrificially refined with the essence of the cloud grass several times to make a pair of glittering cloud shoes. According to Jiang Tian, as long as one put on the cloud shoes, even an ordinary person could breathe his last and fly to the sky. As for those foundation stage cultivators, they would be doomed if they wore them. They would have to go to the sky or even cross the universe. After Jiang Tian finished all this, even though Chu Yunxiu didn't have much knowledge in refining, she had to admit that this set of star crown, feathery coat, and cloud shoes could absolutely be called a first-class magic weapon on this continent. Even if Li Longyuan saw it, he would probably love it too much to put it down. I didn't expect that under this starry sky there would be such a marvelous refining method. At this time, she unexpectedly felt a kind of joy of creation. She was incomparably full and happy. She even felt a surge of gratitude towards Jiang Tian. She was grateful that Jiang Tian had shown her a brand new world. Suddenly, she came to her senses. Her face, which had been slapped by Jiang Tian, became even redder, as if it was dripping blood. She secretly scolded herself, "Chu Yunxiu, what's wrong with you today?" She wanted nothing more than to slap herself. "You're really so cheap. He tortured and humiliated you every day, and even crippled father's cultivation and seized Jadewell Peak, but you're actually grateful to him. You're grinding your teeth?" Jiang Tian used a dust-clearing talisman to wash off the dust on his body. He suddenly sneered and said, "You're scolding me, right?" Chu Yunxiu hurriedly covered her face. But it was already too late. "Pa!" Jiang Tian slapped her and sent her tumbling to the ground. "You can scold me in your heart. In any case, I can't hear you, but I can hit you." Chu Yunxiu was almost driven mad by Jiang Tian. She danced with joy, gnashing her teeth and saying, "Kong Teichu, you've gone too far. You're practically not human, you're a demon. You'll die a horrible death." "Ha, demon? A horrible death?" Jiang Tian mocked slightly. "What nonsense are you talking about? My big brother Jiang is a great person. He's going to save this world." Xiao Yingluo said seriously. "No, I'm a demon." Jiang Tian took the tea from the stinky monkey and took a sip. He chuckled and said, "But Chu Yunxiu, haven't you heard that good people don't live long, bad people live for thousands of years?" Chu Yunxiu's face was covered in dust. She gnashed her teeth in hatred, but she was afraid of Jiang Tian's brutality and didn't dare to refute. However, that afternoon, Jiang Tian was meditating cross-legged. Suddenly, Chu Yunxiu walked in arrogantly. "Ha, Kong Teichu, you're finished." At this time, Chu Yunxiu seemed to be a different person. She was in high spirits, full of confidence, and proud. She had regained her long-lost sense of superiority. "I'm finished?" Jiang Tian slowly opened his eyes and chuckled. "That's right, you're about to die." Chu Yunxiu stuck out her full chest, full of disdain and ridicule. "You think you're strong and domineering by occupying Demon Cave Mountain? You think you're capable by killing the blue-eyed toad? You think you're invincible in this starry sky just because you killed Fong Jingqiang?" Her face was full of disdain, and she shouted mockingly. "No, you're still far from it. You have no idea how terrifying and powerful some existences in this world are. They're not something you can compare to." Chapter 931. "Oh, is there anyone I can't humiliate? Li Longyuan? Bah, let him come over. I'll beat him until he's looking for his teeth on the ground." Jiang Tian mocked. "Li Longyuan? How can Li Longyuan be considered the #1 expert in this starry sky?" Her face was full of mockery, and then she said harshly, "You're too ignorant. It's Bai Zhe. Demon King Bai Zhe, the famous Demon King Bai Zhe of Crimson Thunder Mountain." Jiang Tian seemed to show a hint of surprise. Seeing Jiang Tian's cocky deadpan face finally change color, Chu Yunxiu seemed to have won a great victory. From beginning to end, Jiang Tian's face was always like an ancient well without a trace of panic, nervousness, anger, or fear. It was as if nothing in this world could move Jiang Tian. Even if the sky collapsed and the earth sank, even if the stars fell, it would not cause the slightest ripple in his heart. Chu Yunxiu thought carefully and felt that Jiang Tian was not a young man at all, but an old monster with a lifespan of 10,000 years. Now, Jiang Tian was finally afraid. Although he was not afraid of her, she was still very pleased with herself. "You, Kong Teichu, actually have times when you're afraid. I'm really surprised. You should have been afraid long ago. But you're too stupid. You killed his mount, the blue-eyed toad. Do you think he won't find trouble with you?" Her gaze was sharp, her voice was cold, sonorous like the sound of a sword, powerful and resonant. "Don't you know the news of Demon King Bai Zhe's reappearance? You know, but you underestimated your enemy too much, too arrogant. You didn't know how to run away, and still forcibly occupied my Jade Well Peak. You're courting death. Just a few days ago, after your battle with Fong Jingqiang, I secretly released one of Bai Zai's subordinates that I captured at Jade Well Peak. Moreover, I had him return to Crimson Thunder Mountain to send a message that you were the murderer of the blue-eyed toad. Demon King Bai Zai's follower just sent me a message. I'm now his disciple and servant girl. Moreover, Bai Zai wants me to tell you to immediately hand Demon Cave Mountain over to him and submit to him. Then, go to Crimson Thunder Mountain to beg for forgiveness and await punishment. She seemed to have regained her long-lost sense of superiority, as if she was still the high and mighty miss of Jade Well Peak. You'd better treat me better. Treat you better? Jiang Tian said with a smile. Demon King Bai Zai, I might need to be vigilant, but I don't think I need to be afraid of you. Do you think that I won't dare to hit you just because you're a servant? Jiang Tian slapped her to the ground again. Chu Yunxiu fell to the ground, her face twitching violently. She was going crazy. She hated Jiang Tian to the core. He had never imagined that he would still be unable to suppress Jiang Tian with the name of Demon King Bai Zai. He would still be humiliated by Jiang Tian. But, you've reminded me. Jiang Tian put his hands behind his back and smiled calmly. At this time, I don't need to make too many enemies. I'll send you to Demon King Bai Zai with this set of star crown feather coat and cloud chasing shoes as compensation for killing his mount. You're still afraid, aren't you? You're afraid of my Demon King Bai Zai. You're begging for mercy. Chu Yunxiu was stunned, then laughed maniacally. After all, he's the only demon above the Golden Core realm in this starry sky. 10 Li Longyuan, 100 of you, are no match for the Demon King. She was full of mockery and crazily belittled Jiang Tian. In front of him, you're like an ant that can't even withstand a single blow. He can kill you with a raise of his hand. You're afraid. You're finally afraid. He won't forgive you just because of this. I heard that he's very proud and likes to humiliate his opponents and make them lick his toes. I'm really looking forward to that scene. I, Kong Teichu, have never been weaker than anyone in my life. Jiang Tian flung his sleeves and sneered. My original plan was to kill Li Longyuan and then fight with Demon King Bai Zai. But since you said so, why should I wait any longer? I won't give you this set of Taoist robes and crown. I'll kill my way to Crimson Thunder Mountain and cut off his dog head. Don't. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you right now. Chu Yunxiu was shocked and hurriedly waved her hand. This set of star crown feather coat and cloud chasing shoes had unfathomable abilities and was priceless. If she gave it to him, Demon King Bai Zai would definitely like it and reward her handsomely. One had to know that Great Demon Bai Zai had already gathered 100,000 demon soldiers under his command. There were as many experts and disciples as there were clouds. Now that she had joined them, she was just one of them who didn't reveal her true strength. Moreover, back then, the peaks of Demon Cave Mountain had fought many battles with the demon beasts on Crimson Thunder Mountain. The Chu family had killed many demon beasts. She was bound to be ostracized and suppressed by these demon beasts. Then she had to fight for his favor. She thought to herself. When the time came, she would say that she worked hard to make it. Demon King Master would definitely dote on her a lot. Then she would truly be able to stand firm. In order to prevent you from embezzling it and running away, Heavenly Man and Old Dragon, you two go with me and pass on my message to Demon King Bai Zai, Jiang Tian instructed again. Yes. Yi Tianren and Old Dragon hurriedly answered. This little thief is really cunning. Chu Yunxiu was so angry that her teeth itched. But in the next moment, she changed her mind. It didn't matter. Yi Tianren was his disciple, and this black dog was actually a big dragon. It could be considered giving him a head and a mount. Master would definitely like it more. Just like that. Yi Tianren and Old Dragon put on the feather coat, star crown, and cloud-chasing shoes and rushed to Crimson Thunder Mountain with Chu Yunxiu. The next day, Jiang Tian had just finished his meditation. Ding Lingdang, on the other hand, had disguised herself and secretly arrived at Jade Well Peak on a flying shuttle. She represented Ding Lai to discuss the next step with Jiang Tian. Immortal Master Jiang, you're really too domineering. One sword to break 10,000 soldiers, one sword to destroy a city. Ding Lingdang was dressed neatly like a female thief. She tore off the black cloth covering her face and looked at Jiang Tian with excitement and admiration. Unfortunately, my father caught me and didn't let me come to help you. He was afraid that I would be exposed. Ding Lingdang said bitterly, otherwise, as the one who experienced this battle, I would definitely be able to brag about it for the rest of my life. Jiang Tian looked at the map of the heavenly star small world and said with a smile, City Lord Ding is right. Star capital is right under the heavenly star palace. Once it's exposed, your Ding family will be in great danger. Moreover, after I kill Li Longyuan, you still have to play an important role. You have to seize the dojo, detain the enemy, and pacify the civilians. It's not good to be exposed at this time. Immortal Master Jiang, are you really confident that you can kill Li Longyuan? Ding Lingdang's pretty face changed and she said worriedly, I'm here this time to convey my father's opinion. He thinks that we don't need to be too hasty. We should use the border city as our base, fight steadily, build high walls, accumulate food, and slowly become the king. After 10 years, we will gather tens of thousands of cultivators and destroy it in one fell swoop. What do you think? Jiang Tian said with a smile. Ding Lingdang was stunned and said in surprise, Immortal Master Jiang, are you asking me for my opinion? My opinion is, of course, to kill him without caring about anything else. Ding Lingdang was so proud that her face turned red with excitement. However, the next moment, she sighed and said, however, although it's fun, it's not very safe. Li Longyuan's cultivation is unfathomable. Your father is experienced and prudent. This arrangement is not wrong. Jiang Tian stood up, paced around the hall, and said with a smile, however, he doesn't know what I'm capable of. He's just a golden core cultivator. What's there to be afraid of? Li Longyuan is nothing. I can kill him with a raise of my hand. Immortal Master Jiang, please think twice before you act. At the side, Jiang Haishan was shocked and hesitated to speak. It was already unbelievable that Jiang Tian could kill a fake core cultivator. However, he dared to face Li Longyuan directly. He didn't even take a golden core cultivator seriously. He was underestimating his enemy too much. Jiang Tian smiled but didn't say anything. At this moment, Ding Lingdang said with a troubled expression, Immortal Master Jiang, I have a presumptuous request. Can you not make things difficult for Lady Merciless Desire? Ding Lingdang said anxiously with a pleading expression. Lady Merciless Desire taught me cultivation before. Also, she hates evil. She's not a bad person. I heard that she has already announced to the world that she wants to challenge me. Jiang Tian smiled and shook his head. His eyes flickered with a hint of murderous intent. Lady Merciless Desire really made people feel helpless. If one said that she was bad, she was definitely not an evil person. In fact, she was once the leader of the rebel army. However, perhaps because she hadn't been nourished by a man for a long time, her menopause symptoms had flared up. Her personality was too extreme and self-centered. Just because he rejected the marriage alliance with Fairy Miao Yi, she walked to the opposite side. Immortal Master Jiang, I beg you, please show mercy. Sensing Jiang Tian's murderous intent, Ding Lingdang knelt on the ground and kowtowed as if she was pounding garlic. She taught me swordsmanship and helped the Ding family defeat the enemy. The Ding family owes her a debt of gratitude. If you kill her, my father and I will be at a loss. It turned out that more than 10 years ago, when the Ding family was traveling, a certain sect took revenge on them. More than 10 late-stage Foundation establishment cultivators joined forces to kill them. At that time, Ding Lai was no match for them at all. Just as he was about to die, Lady Merciless Desire happened to pass by and helped, defeating the enemy with one strike. Since then, the Ding family and Heartless sect had a close relationship. Ding Lingding even became Lady Merciless Desire's in-name disciple. Immortal Master Jiang, if you don't agree, I won't get up. I'll keep kneeling. Ding Lingdang said anxiously with tears rolling down her cheeks. Forget it, I won't argue with her. I won't fight with her. Get up. Jiang Tian pondered for a while and said indifferently. It didn't matter if Jiang Tian killed Lady Merciless Desire, but Ding Lai would become the laughingstock of the world. His benefactor had been killed by Jiang Tian. Not only did he not take revenge for his benefactor, but he even respected Jiang Tian. What kind of man was he? Besides, although Lady Merciless Desire had a strange temper, she wasn't a bad person. She was enemies with Jiang Tian because of personal grudges. She didn't have any conflicts with Jiang Tian, nor was she an evil person. Thank you, Immortal Master Jiang. Ding Lingdang smiled through her tears. At this moment, a series of curses came from outside the door. Kong Teichu, you're just fishing for fame. Come out and fight me if you have the guts. Although it was a woman's voice, it was like a thunderclap that shook the entire Jade Well Peak, causing the ground to tremble and the mountains to shake. Jiang Tian frowned. Ding Lingdang's expression also changed as she said with a trembling voice, "It's Lady Merciless Desire." Chapter 932. Don't show yourself. There are too many people around. Find a chance to sneak back to Star Capital. Jiang Tian smiled faintly, then rose into the air and arrived outside Jadewell Peak. Lady Desireless was standing on her flying sword and blocking the entrance of Jadewell Peak. She was so angry that her face was red and she was gritting her teeth. Not only was she here, but there were also thousands of cultivators on the other peaks watching. There were many sect masters and leaders of aristocratic families among them. Although she was alone, the number of powerful cultivators she had alarmed was no less than Fang Jingxiang's army at the border. Kong Teichu, I heard that you're a pseudo-core cultivator. I won't be bullying you. Draw your sword. Lady Desireless heard countless people mocking and ridiculing her along the way. She couldn't help but be furious. When she saw that Jiang Tian was still at the second level of the Foundation establishment realm, she was so angry that her eyes turned red. I won't fight you. Jiang Tian waved his hand and said, You have to fight me. Lady Desireless glared and said hatefully, Because of you, I've won thousands of battles and been despised by the world. Today I, Desolation, will let the world see whether I, Desolation, have misjudged you or not. Are you, Jiang Taichu, a fake core cultivator? Her voice was like a clap of thunder. Her monstrous battle array and the solemn dignity of a sect master were only higher than Fang Jingxiang's. I'm going to break your mask, you little thief. I want you to understand that you're still an ant, just a slightly bigger one. Her words were full of humiliation. In an instant, all the cultivators watching the battle became excited and looked up. Kong Teichu was so domineering. He defeated an army of 10,000 cultivators alone and destroyed a city with his sword. How could he tolerate Lady Desireless humiliating him like that? A great battle was about to break out. But then I'll fight you. Let's stop here. At this moment, Jiang Tian was also a little angry. He wouldn't kill her, but he could at least press her to the ground and rub her a few times, right? However, at this moment, Jiang Tian suddenly heard a voice in his mind. Master, this is bad. We're in trouble. If Bai Zhe turns against me, I can't beat him. Come save us. It was the old dragon sending a message to Jiang Tian through the soul-devouring sound transmitting jade talisman that Jiang Tian had left on him. Don't be hasty. Fight while you retreat. I'll save you now. Jiang Tian frowned and hurriedly said, Miu, let's not fight today. I still have things to do. I'll take my leave first. With that, Jiang Tian's figure turned into a stream of light, breaking through the air at an unparalleled speed. Just as Desire Extinguisher unleashed his sword, Jiang Tian's figure disappeared. She couldn't help but feel like she had punched cotton. Kong Teichu, are you making fun of me? Mieu took back his flying sword hatefully. He was so angry that his whole body trembled. You're running pretty fast. What kind of hero are you for running away at the last minute? Today, tell me in front of everyone, are you really at the second level of Foundation establishment? Did I misjudge you? Goddess Miu's eyes are as sharp as torches. That's right, I'm at the second level of Foundation establishment. I'm the real deal. Jiang Tian's voice pierced through the clouds and mountains. But Desire Extinguisher, remember what I said today. You'll know my true strength sooner or later. My strength is not something you can compare to. It's not even something you can imagine. You'll also be grateful to me for running away at the last minute today. You won't embarrass yourself and can still live for a few more years. But, you shameless little thief. Desire Extinguisher was so angry that he scolded sternly. Then you also have to remember my words. You rely on secret techniques and pills to forcefully increase your combat strength. It's only temporary. You have to know that cultivation is the foundation in the fight for the great Tao. You're quite talented. If you cultivate for 100 years, you might have a chance to see the truth of the golden core. But you're too weak in this world full of powerful cultivators. You'll soon face a disaster. I advise you to hurry back to Earth. Everyone didn't hear Jiang Tian's reply again. They couldn't help but be stunned and couldn't believe it. What? Kong Teichu is really at the second level of foundation establishment. Someone exclaimed. He admitted it himself. How can it be fake? A cultivator next to him interrupted. No matter what secret techniques, evil techniques, or pills he uses to increase his cultivation, it will eventually backfire on him. A wise man shook his head and sighed. Old man, look, Kong Teichu's Dantian is lifeless and there's no energy fluctuation. He's already at the end of his rope. I'm afraid he can't hold on for much longer. Even if he's really a fake core cultivator, he's not Li Longyuan's opponent, let alone an early-stage foundation establishment cultivator? Not to mention that his Dantian was damaged. A sect leader in the crowd said coldly, his eyes full of disdain. At the side, many sect leaders and family heads nodded in agreement, but they were very disappointed. The difference between a golden core cultivator and a foundation establishment cultivator was like the difference between heaven and earth. A golden core overlord was already called a perfected immortal. The so-called immortal masters of the foundation establishment level couldn't compare. That was just a title. As for the sky immortals, earth immortals, and human immortals on earth, that was just a classification on Earth. In fact, their power was equivalent to 3 levels of the early stage of the foundation establishment level, which was a far cry from a golden core overlord. A golden core overlord could control the world and had unpredictable divine powers. They could turn land into rivers and move mountains. In many level 4 small worlds, a golden core cultivator could dominate and control a realm. Even in some small cultivation planets in the universe, a golden core cultivator was the supreme being and could control a planet. At first, everyone had a glimmer of hope for Jiang Tian when they came to watch the battle. They wanted to guess Jiang Tian's power and decide which side they were on. But now, it seemed that Jiang Tian was only at the second level of the foundation establishment level and was at the end of his life. How could he be Li Longyuan's opponent? Kong Teichu was just a human from Earth. It was impossible for him to break the old world and overthrow the starry sky palace. Goddess Merciless Desire challenged Kong Teichu. Kong Teichu didn't dare to accept the challenge and ran away. Kong Teichu admitted that he's at the second level of the foundation establishment level. Many of Jiang Tian's original supporters woke up as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over them. But what should we do? He's only at the second level of the foundation establishment level and used evil arts to increase his power. Madame Shi, the sect leader of the Snake sect, froze as if she had been struck by lightning. She had high hopes for Jiang Tian at first. But now, those fantasies were like sand castles, smashed into smithereens by monstrous waves. I was too reckless after all. Master Yuan Jing, the head abbot of the Sanskrit temple, regretted it. He then walked toward Abbot Pudu of the demon-suppressing temple and bowed with his hands together. Master Pudu, since we're all disciples of the Buddhist sect, can you put in a good word for us in front of the starry sky palace? We were all forced by Kong Teichu. Master Yuan Jing, don't be nervous. This battle won't happen. Abbot Pudu of the demon-suppressing temple, who was wearing a brocade cassock, suddenly stepped out of the crowd on a 5-colored golden lotus and chanted Buddha's name. Kong Teichu is extremely talented. It wasn't easy for him to cultivate, but his dantian and meridians were damaged because he took pills to increase his power. His power is about to dissipate. I'll help him treat his injuries. Master Pudu is really trying to save the world. He's actually going to help such a fiend. Someone looked at this senior monk and immediately revealed a look of admiration. The difference between the demon-suppressing temple and the Sanskrit temple was obvious. The Sanskrit temple only wanted to survive. On the other hand, the demon-suppressing temple was thinking for the world. As expected of one of the three major sects, the Holy Land of the Buddhist sect, Master Pudu slayed demons and defended the path of righteousness. He had once walked the world with Buddha's light. He cured the poor and advised people to do good, avoiding the countless killings and hatred in the world. In the entire heavenly star small world, Master Pudu's prestige was very high. He was a good person and a senior monk. Master Pudu, are you really going to treat his injuries? Won't that bring chaos to the star small world? Won't that make the world your enemy? Rumble. A tall and dignified figure stepped out, pushing out a monstrous wave of air that shook the heavens and the earth. This person's armor was bright, and his aura was vigorous. His white battle robe fluttered like a flag, and his aura was actually on par with Desireless. It was the floating spear city lord, the heavenly star war god Shintij. At this moment, his handsome face was full of anger. He was obviously extremely dissatisfied with Master Pudu's actions. Behind Master Pudu's head, Golden Buddha's light formed a ring. He looked solemn and kind as he put his palms together and said unhurriedly, "General Shen, I'll treat his injuries, but I also want to establish good karma with him. I'll persuade Kong Techu to convert to the demon-suppressing temple and bury the hatchet with the heavenly star palace. I'll help the people under the starry sky avoid conflict and disaster. Isn't this the best of both worlds? This Kong Techu is really lucky. Master Pudu is willing to accept him as a disciple. His life will be saved." Master Pudu, aren't you afraid of offending the heavenly star palace? Some experts were also a little worried. The demon-suppressing temple accepting Kong Techu as a disciple was equivalent to protecting him. Li Longyuan and the heavenly star palace would definitely be unhappy. Shintij flung his sleeves and sneered with killing intent. "Master Pudu, I won't stop you if you're such a good person. However, if you don't distinguish between right and wrong, I'm afraid everyone in the heavenly star domain will hate you to the core. You have to consider this carefully. Yes, that Kong Techu has always been shameless. Pudu, be careful of doing bad things with good intentions." Desireless also advised. How can everything in the world go according to one's wishes? I'm just doing good deeds. I don't care about the results. I just want to have a clear conscience. Master Pudu's face was solemn as he smiled. Master Pudu, the Buddhist doctrine is really boundless and merciful. You're indeed an eminent monk. I'm ashamed that my realm is far from yours. After this matter is over, I'll go to the demon-suppressing temple to study Buddhism for 10 years. I hope you won't refuse. The abbot of the Sanskrit temple, Yuan Jing, immediately looked ashamed. He bowed deeply to Master Pudu to show his greatest respect. Since I'm a believer of the Buddhist sect, I naturally have the world in my heart. Persuading people to do good is my unshirkable responsibility. Master Pudu sighed softly. He stepped on the 5-colored golden lotus and led many eminent monks, arhats, guardians, vajras, and disciples to chase after Jiang Tian. Chapter 933. Master, Kong Techu is very powerful and murderous. I'm afraid he won't listen to your advice, much less convert to the demon suppression temple. Zen Master Deshin caught up to Pudu and whispered with a frown. Although he's talented, he's only at the second stage of the foundation establishment realm. His cultivation is low, and his dantian is lifeless. Do you think he dares to fight me? Master Pudu's splendid kasaya was surrounded by Buddhist light and auspicious clouds. He shook his head gently and snorted. Secondly, he has no other choice. Now, several big cities and many sects want to attack him. How can he hold on? Thirdly, I'm using the righteousness of the common people to pressure him. How can he dare to refute? Otherwise, he'll be despised by the world. So, with these 3 points, he won't dare to fall out with the demon suppression temple even if he has 100 guts. Master, back then, Jiang Taichu also saved this disciple. Can you not force him to do this? Zen Master Dashin looked helpless and could only persuade. What do you know? I'm working hard for the Demon Suppression Temple's 100-year plan and for the safety of the Stellar Sky domain. Master Pudu snorted and said unhappily. Jiang Tian had just flown to the Red Thunder Mountain when Xiao Yingluo followed him on the giant eagle. Big brother Jiang, I'll go with you. Okay. Shall I go back? Get on my flying sword. Jiang Tian raised his hand, and his vital essence burst out, taking Xiao Yingluo over. Then, he took her on his flying sword and flew as fast as lightning to the Red Thunder Mountain where the spirit energy tide was the fiercest. In this place, the Crimson Thunder Mountain was not as steep and precipitous as the 7 main peaks. However, it was still 10,000 meters high and 30 kilometers long. It was like a huge dragon lying on the ground, giving people a majestic and vigorous feeling. In the sky, the spirit energy miasma formed a huge vortex due to the gravity array and the imbalance of the spirit energy cycle, rolling endlessly. Endless majestic spirit energy and energy tore, collided, swallowed, and entangled, covering the sky and leaving a large shadow on the ground. Here, it was as if there was no boundary between day and night. Because of the unstable force field, the colorful clouds formed by the spirit energy and miasma erupted like tornadoes, forming enormous pillars of air that were thousands of meters tall. They rolled and spun non-stop, flowing between the mountain ridges, dissipating and then condensing again. Thousands of changes occurred in an instant. As the numerous air pillars violently rubbed against each other, they formed thick bolts of crimson lightning. Like a descending azure dragon, they bared their fangs and brandished their claws as they blasted towards the crimson lightning mountain. Torrential rain poured down, and the world was in chaos. Demonic plants that were rarely seen in the outside world could be found all over the endless mountains. Nourished by the miasma and spiritual energy, they had all grown to enormous sizes. Even a stalk of grass was taller than a person, and its edges were covered with chilling sawteeth. Under the illumination of the red lightning, it emitted a demonic glow. In the dense forest, the roars of demonic beasts could be heard, shaking people's skulls to the point that they felt like they were going to explode. Whoosh, whoosh. A gigantic scaled bird flapped its 20-meter-long wings and soared into the sky. Between its claws, it grabbed a 30-meter-long python. Blood gushed out like a fountain. Such a storm of spiritual energy, such spiritual energy lightning, and such dangerous demonic beasts could be said to be the most dangerous place in the demonic cave mountain. The cultivators of the demonic cave mountain called it the Dark Absolute Prison. Even late Foundation establishment cultivators and battle-hardened bounty hunters did not dare to approach it easily. Even the Heavenly Star Palace rarely sent troops to attack it. Instead, they let the bandits and refugees of the demonic cave mountain serve as free cannon fodder. Swoosh! Under the crazy sky, 2 streaks of light, one black and one white, flashed across the dark mountain ridges, only to be struck by 2 even faster streaks of light. Put, put, put. Yi Tianren and the old dragon staggered and rolled on the ground. They looked at the 2 colossal beings and Chu Yunxiu who were slowly approaching them. Chu Yunxiu laughed proudly. Ha! You still want to run? You humiliated me again and again. Now you're done for. Blackie, I'm going to chop you into pieces and make a dog head hot pot. At this moment, the old dragon and Yi Tianren were not in good condition. They were chased and intercepted by hundreds of demonic beasts. After running for dozens of kilometers, their bodies were stained with blood and their flesh was lacerated. These demonic beasts had been nourished by spiritual energy and miasma. They were too powerful and almost as strong as Foundation establishment cultivators. Moreover, they were highly poisonous. If it weren't for the many protective artifacts that Jiang Tian had given them, they would probably have died long ago. At this moment, 2 demonic beasts were approaching. One of them was more than 2 meters tall and covered in thick feathers. His arms were between human arms and bird wings. His face was like a cross between a human and a bird. However, he had a long, sharp beak and was shaped like an owl. His eyes were strangely large, but there were no pupils. They were like a pair of dim light bulbs, emitting a dazzling light. The other demonic beast was surrounded by black fog. The demonic fog dispersed, revealing a viper-like face and a 10-meter-long python body covered in dense scales. The golden vertical pupils that had shrunk into a line blinked from time to time. The golden-eyed snake demon sniffed and said with a sharp voice, "Hiss, hiss, the tempting smell of human flesh. The other smell is very complicated, like an animal." "Animal? Little worm, who are you scolding?" The old dragon was furious. He revealed his true form and pushed his 100-meter-long dragon body forward. His dragon claws grabbed at the large snake demon. "Haha, it's actually a flood dragon with hundreds of years of cultivation. If I catch you, it'll be good to be my demon king by Zay's mount." The snake demon's vertical pupils suddenly lit up. His body suddenly enlarged and he opened his bloody mouth to bite at the old dragon. The night owl demon didn't say anything and flew toward Yi Tianren. Still in midair, his wing-like right arm slashed across the air. Many razor-sharp feathers slashed toward Yi Tianren. "Evil creature, die!" Yi Tianren shouted angrily and his broken iron sword shot out like a stream of light. In an instant, the four of them collided heavily. Bang bang bang. The collision sounds were like dense raindrops. After a few rounds, swoosh, the old dragon flew dozens of meters away and sank into the mountain wall. He hid inside and screamed in fear, "Mercy! We surrender. We're only here to offer the star crown feather armor. Why do you have to kill us?" However, Heavenly Yi did not say a word. He was full of vigor and moved forward courageously. He used his most powerful skills and continued to fight with the two demons. These two great beasts were both half-human beast cultivators who had formed a fake core. Their bodies were strong and indestructible, and they spat out poisonous fog to create strange sound waves. Unless Yi Tianren gave up half of his cultivation and used the human sword fusion, his chances of winning were slim. "Little bug, surrender. How dare the demon cave mountain kill the blue-eyed toad and the others? You'll die even if you give up the treasure." The snake demon had two arms. It cackled strangely and its forked tongue swept toward Celestial Yi to wrap around him. Meanwhile, the night owl soared into the air, its sharp red claws like steel hooks grabbing at Yi Tianren's head. But suddenly, a cold light shot over like a shooting star, and with a swish, it cut off the long tongue, causing blood to spray out. "Who's there? A fake core overlord." The two great beasts were immediately alarmed. The snake demon retracted its broken tongue and immediately shrank its body. It stood up and looked vigilant. But the cold light was too fast. It rolled in the air and circled around the snake demon's vital point 3 times. Boom! Its huge head rolled on the ground and its vertical eyes were full of shock. Smelly blood spurted out like a tide more than 10 meters high. The snake body was still twisting crazily and its tail was like a huge whip, lashing out randomly. Bang! 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 The earth shook and the mountains shook. Sparks splashed everywhere and the boulders weighing a few thousand kilograms were torn apart and turned into powder. The night owl reacted much faster than the golden-eyed snake demon. Before Jiang Tian's flying sword swept out for the second time, he had already soared into the sky. He and the golden-eyed snake demon were the two top generals under Bai Zai's command. To be honest, even Li Longyuan didn't dare to provoke them easily. But at this moment, the golden-eyed snake demon was at a disadvantage. The one who came must be a supermaster. Ah! Suddenly, the night owl screamed again. There was a series of clanging sounds, like the continuous vibrations of a pipa or raindrops hitting a banana leaf. The red claws were badly mutilated and white bones were exposed. The night owl was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. His speed was already faster than the speed of sound, but this person's flying sword was even faster than him. Fortunately, he had moved early and his legs were not important. He still had 80% of his combat power, which was enough to tear a peak foundation establishment overlord into pieces. But at this moment, pa, a giant net composed of seventh metal true essence fell from the sky. Countless flashing crystal talismans engraved with flashing runes suddenly burst, illuminating the dark jungle as if it was daytime. The night owl's big yellow eyes suddenly seemed to be broken light bulbs, becoming gray and invisible. Chi. One after another, the flying swords arrived. The night owl let out a shrill cry. Although it could not see, it turned into a ghostly stream of light, twisting and turning among the flying swords. It flew higher and higher, displaying a strength that actually surpassed Fang Jingxiang's. Insidious human, don't think that a few small spirit treasure-level flying swords can kill me. Even if I can't see anything, I can still feel the murderous aura of the flying sword. You can't hit me. When I recover my vision, I have already torn you to pieces, for sure. Before the voice fell. Boom. Several red lightning bolts straight down from the depths of the clouds suddenly deviated from the established trajectory and intertwined into a thunder and lightning net with a radius of 1 kilometer, dazzling and blazing, falling from the sky. The night owl rushed left and right, but he still fell into the thunder net and was electrocuted in an instant. Boom. With a sound, he died, falling to the ground, breaking trees, rolling stones, and shaking mountains. This night owl's cultivation is not bad, especially his strong body. Jiang Tian praised. The red lightning I attracted was 10,000 degrees high, but it didn't burn into ashes. Kong Te Chu. Chu Yunxiu was so scared that her face turned pale. She exclaimed and ran away on her flying sword. Wanna run? Jiang Tian snorted. His true essence burst out and slapped her to the ground together with her flying sword. Chapter 934. Beside them, Xiao Yingluo also landed and sneered. Hee, this idiot woman has been caught by us again. Hee, you better not provoke me. My master will come and save me soon. Chu Yunxiu snorted proudly. Master, you're finally here. You've bullied us so badly. The old dragon shrank his body to more than a meter long. He crawled out with tears in his eyes and acted pitiful to Jiang Tian. Why are you so cowardly? Why did you let the celestial being fight them alone? Jiang Tian glared at the old dragon. This guy was always afraid of fighting. When he met the weak, he was arrogant and acted like he was the best in the world. When he met the strong, he immediately shrank back and didn't even have the courage to try. Master, aren't you coming soon? In any case, you can slap them to death with a single slap. Why should I be calculative with them? Let's see how long they can be arrogant for. The old dragon frowned and said flatteringly, Besides, if I die in battle, won't you be very sad and distressed? I know that you dote on me the most, master. Dote on you my ass. Jiang Tian kicked him aside. Master, that set of feather clothes and star crown has been given to Demon King Baizhe. Yi Tanren said respectfully. But he's still not satisfied. He wants to make a soul contract with us and turn us into his slaves and mounts. We can only run out. Don't worry, I'll help you vent your anger. Celestial being, heal yourself first. We'll kill them right away. Jiang Tian smiled. I'll make him kneel down and lick your toes? Arrogant. You don't know your place. Chu Yunxiu snorted proudly and wanted to mock Jiang Tian. Bitch, if you didn't sow discord, would we be hunted down? The old dragon turned into a big black dog and jumped up. He beat Chu Yunxiu until she almost fainted. Master, it's okay. It's just a flesh wound. Yi Tianren smiled gratefully. Then he swallowed a few healing pills and sat cross-legged in meditation. Jiang Tian sat cross-legged on a piece of bluestone to protect him. However, the old dragon came back excitedly and asked, Master, do you have a barbecue grill in your gourd? Hungry? That's right. I think this night owl is quite fragrant after being struck by lightning. The old dragon was drooling. You have good taste now. Jiang Tian mocked. It used to be eaten raw, but now there are so many different dishes. There are spicy strips, hot pot, and barbecue. Although he said that, Jiang Tian still took out 3-feet-long special spicy strips from his storage ring, a huge iron pot with a radius of 3 meters, a large pile of charcoal, buckets of all kinds of condiments, a spear-like iron skewer, a huge blade, a huge axe, and other items. Apart from using their demon cores, these demon beasts' flesh and blood also contained abundant spirit energy. They were very beneficial to the old dragon's cultivation. During this time, the old dragon had swallowed the blood essence of many Foundation establishment experts and had already reached the 6th level of Foundation establishment. Speaking of which, his cultivation was even stronger than Yi Tianren's. The old dragon immediately hummed a tune happily and got busy. He skewered the night owl with big iron skewers and roasted it over the charcoal fire. He brushed it with oil, salt, pepper, and cumin. The aroma spread everywhere. Then he skinned the snake demon and cleaned it. Then he chopped it into pieces with a huge axe and cooked it in a big iron pot to make snake soup. Half an hour later, after Yi Tianren finished healing, the old dragon also finished cooking the barbecue and snake soup. The old dragon ate happily. "Old dragon, why don't you eat here first? Master and I will go find trouble with that great demon Bai Zhe?" Yi Tianren raised his eyebrows and said murderously, "Wait a moment. I'm worried about the two of you going in alone. Of course, we have to fight side by side." The old dragon's mouth was full of oil as he shouted, "Tisk, you're afraid that you'll be killed by other demon beasts if we leave, right?" Yi Tianren laughed. "Don't expose me. You're making me very embarrassed." The old dragon ate the bird meat and frowned. Suddenly, Jiang Tian smiled faintly and said, "Heavenly being, don't worry. The demon king is already here. Master, this person is at least at the nascent soul stage. He's extremely powerful." Yi Tianren's face suddenly turned serious. A golden light shot across the sky like a comet. It was extremely fast, 3 times the speed of sound. That's the great demon Bai Zhe. He has completely transformed into a human. He's indeed extraordinary. Boom. The golden light landed 100 meters away from Jiang Tian and the others. Jiang Tian looked over. The great demon Bai Zhe looked like a 16 or 17-year-old boy. His face was chiseled and his handsome face revealed his resolute personality. His figure was tall and straight, wearing the feather robe and star crown gifted by Jiang Tian, with wide sleeves and a wide belt. His figure fluttered in the wind, looking like a handsome tree in the wind. His otherworldly aura rushed out, as if he was truly a celestial being. The old dragon was shocked and showed a deep fear. He hid the half-eaten bird leg behind his back. Yi Tianren also looked alert and his body was tense. He was secretly accumulating energy, waiting for a moment to start the battle. Chu Yunxiu was immediately revived. She jumped up and ran behind Bai Zhe. She pointed at Jiang Tian and yelled, "Kong Teichu, why don't you kneel and beg for mercy when you see our demon king?" Jiang Tian didn't bother with her. He smiled and said, "My friend, have you eaten? If you haven't, let's eat together." Bai Zhe's handsome face was gloomy and his eyes were as sharp as knives. He said coldly, "You killed the golden-eyed snake monster and the night owl and ate them?" "His name is Midnight Snack. Of course I ate it. Otherwise, why would I keep it?" Jiang Tian said with a slight sneer. "You are Kong Teichu? You also killed my mount, the blue-eyed toad?" Bai Zhe asked again with a slightly cold face. "Yes, it's me." Jiang Tian's face was filled with curiosity as he asked seriously, "Is that your mount? It's full of poisonous lumps and stinks. Don't you think it stinks?" "Weak insect, you are so rude." Bai Zhe was so angry that he laughed and said arrogantly, "I am Demon King Bai Zhe who once controlled the whole heavenly star small world. I am the master of this continent. You lowly creature, how dare you kill this seat's demon general and mount? Could it be that you're not afraid of this seat's thunderous fury?" "Afraid of you?" Jiang Tian wanted to laugh. "You should be afraid of me." Bai Zhe was so arrogant that he waved his sleeves and said loudly, 1,000 years ago, the master of the heavenly star palace and the masters of thousands of major sects were my servants. Without my enlightenment, they're nothing. 800 years ago, the 3 abbots of the demon-subduing temple were all in the golden core realm. They were trampled on the ground by me and called me daddy. My strength is not something you can imagine. You can only submit to me, worship me, and be my servant. Is this your only way to survive? What's the benefit of worshipping you and being your servant? Jiang Tian asked curiously. I heard that you offended the Heavenly Star Palace, several major sects and giant cities, right? You are ambitious. Bai Zhe praised first, then he waved his sleeves and said with disdain and arrogance, But lowly ant, you are not smart enough. I see that you are only at the second level of the Foundation establishment realm. The gap in strength is too big. You can't win. In this dangerous world, you can't survive. With his hands behind his back, he was full of arrogance and reprimanded. If you are willing to be my servant, then I will help you destroy the Heavenly Star Palace and kill that little bastard Li Longyuan. I will let you be the master of this world. How about it? That seems good. Jiang Tian said with a half-smile. Bai Zhe looked up at the starry sky that was overflowing with spiritual energy like a teenager. His gaze was sad and deep as he sighed. Don't think that it's a surprise. I don't care about this world. Even the ruins of immortality is just a remote place in my eyes. This world is no longer viable. The ruins of immortality is also no longer viable. It's a pity that the Heavenly Star Palace is still fighting for power. What a joke. I want to find a new place for my people to live and to find a place where they can reproduce. He was full of ambition and lofty sentiments. My journey is to conquer the sea of stars and the vast universe. As long as you kneel and submit, this vast continent will be handed over to you. I will even give you the ruins of immortality. At least you can still enjoy thousands of years of glory and wealth. What do you think, Kang Teichu? Jiang Tian smiled disdainfully and said, Okay, I think you are seriously ill. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. If you are willing to be my servant, I will spare your life. Lowly insect, it seems that you don't know the power of Demon King Bai Zhe. I will kill you like slaughtering chickens and dogs to announce to the Star World that great Demon King Bai Zhe, I am back. Bai Zhe was furious. His eyes were full of murderous intent. He rose into the air and grabbed at Jiang Tian. At this moment, a black hole seemed to have appeared in Bai Zhe's palm. The huge suction force could devour everything. Even if they were hundreds of meters away, even if the old dragon and Yi Tianren used all their cultivation and many secret techniques, they couldn't bear it and involuntarily flew toward Bai Zhe's palm. That huge spiritual power turbulence seemed to want to completely tear Yi Tianren and the old dragon apart. Even Jiang Tian was moved. The strength of this demon king Bai Zhe was really good. He was already in the late stage of gold core and even formed his nascent soul. His spiritual power was surging and vast. It had the power to destroy heaven and earth. With Jiang Tian's strength of the fourth level of foundation establishment, plus the two strongest physiques of Gengjin and Xianshui, as well as the many magical powers he had mastered in his 10,000 years of cultivation, it would take a lot of hard work to defeat him. Chapter 935. Ant, why don't you surrender? Kneel on the ground and tremble, then lick my toes. Bai Zhe smiled proudly. Since you're willing to be my tailor, you're my servant. Ha, Kang Teichu, you're finally finished. I've been waiting for this day for too long. Chu Yunxiu also laughed crazily, as if Jiang Tian would be played to death by Bai Zhe in the next moment. Kneel? That's a good suggestion. Jiang Tian laughed and pinched his fingers. Suddenly, chi. A few sounds. The feather clothes on Bai Zhe's body suddenly contracted and became as stiff as iron, firmly locking all the joints in his body. The star crown shone brightly, and the crown's star hooks pierced his head. Blood immediately flowed out of his head, and the runes flickered, draining his magic power. The cloud-slashing shoe suddenly became as heavy as 10,000 mountains, dragging him to the ground. Thump! The greater demon, Bai Zhe, fell to the ground with his face first. His nose bled from the fall and he was in a daze. You fell? Chu Yunxiu was dumbfounded and couldn't believe it. Despicable and shameless, you actually plotted against me. Bai Zhe cursed angrily. He struggled with all his might, but the runes shone brightly and firmly imprisoned him. he shouted in shock and fear. It's the demon suppression talisman. You ant from Earth actually knows the long-lost demon suppression talisman. And it's not the heavenly star small world's runes. I was actually fooled by you. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He shouted angrily, plotting against me? If you have the guts, let me go and have a fair fight with me. I'm not going to fight with you. It's too tiring. Jiang Tian smiled and said, submit to me, be my servant, and help me conquer the heavenly star small world. I'll spare your life. Yi Tianren suddenly realized and couldn't help but admire him. The reason why Jiang Tian created the feather robe and star crown and offered it to Bai Zhe was not to curry favor with him or to form an alliance with him. In fact, it was a type of dermic artifact to restrain him. Although it sounded simple, the great demon Bai Zhe had cultivated for thousands of years and was experienced. He had sharp eyes and it was not easy to make him fall for it. So treacherous. Chu Yunxiu was also dumbfounded. It turned out that the feather clothes, star crown, and cloud shoes that Jiang Tian made were actually a set of restriction artifacts used to plot against the demon king Bai Zhe. It turned out that this brat was using him. That's right. My master has 100 ways to make you wish you were dead. The old dragon gnawed on the bones of the night owl and threatened proudly, be my master's demon pet obediently. Don't worry, the two of us will be brothers in the future. I, your big brother, will protect you. Jiang Tian smiled faintly and said, big black dog, you've underestimated me. I have more than 100 techniques. Bah! You've only cultivated for a few years and you're not worthy of being my brother. The great demon Bai Zhe shouted angrily at the old dragon, and then laughed coldly, human insect, just use whatever techniques you have. If I blink, I'll be wasting my thousands of years of cultivation. Is that so? Jiang Tian smiled coldly and formed a seal with his fingers. Instantly, streaks of golden light penetrated from the feather robe and star crown. Like sharp thorns, they pierced towards Bai Zhe's internal organs. Ow 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 ow. It's so painful. Bai Zhe only felt that there were thousands of steel needles piercing his body. His internal organs seemed to be stirred by steel knives, and the bones all over his body creaked. You think you can do anything to me? Bai Zhe roared and used his demon technique. Instantly, his body shrunk rapidly, like a baby. However, as he shrunk, the feather robe and cloud shoes also shrunk, still tightly constricting him. Especially his waist, it was about to become as thick as a thumb, as if it would completely shatter in the next moment. Break it! The great demon Bai Zhe's face was flushed red. Yellow light shone brightly around him, and his body expanded continuously. Suddenly, with a muffled bang, he reverted to his original form. His original form was 1,000 feet long like a small mountain. He had the body of a lion and the head of a dragon. There were 2 long curved horns that were dozens of meters long on his head, and he looked extraordinarily mighty and terrifying. His body expanded, but the feather robe and star crown did not expand with him. With a series of cracking sounds, the great demon Bai Zhe immediately heard the sound of his ribs breaking. In particular, his essence spirit was also penetrated by the spirit consciousness nails emitted by the golden star crown. It was so painful that his head almost exploded. The great demon Bai Zhe shrunk his body hurriedly. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth as he shouted angrily, "If not for this robe, you can't beat me. I'm just indignant. Just use whatever methods you have. I'll seal my acupoints and meridians. Even if you crush me into meat paste, I won't bow down to a weak insect like you. Oh my, you've got quite a temper." Jiang Tian made a series of hand gestures, and all kinds of torture came one after another. The feather robe and star crown were sometimes as cold as an icehouse, sometimes as hot as magma, sometimes as twisted as a fried dough twist, and sometimes as round as a mile, kneading Bai Zhe like dough. The torture lasted for 15 minutes, but even though Bai Zhe was bleeding all over, he just closed his eyes and did not make a sound. "You're really tough." Jiang Tian gave up and laughed. Bai Zhe opened his eyes and stared at Jiang Tian. His eyes were disdainful as he said resentfully, "Humph, I've cultivated for 1,000 years and my ability is omnipotent. Sooner or later, I'll come up with a solution. When I regain my freedom, I'll teach you well and let you lick my toes. Lick my toes? You're really a genius. That's a good suggestion. Jiang Tian laughed and made another hand gesture. Suddenly, the feather robe wriggled and the star crown shone. Bai Zhe was controlled by the feather robe and involuntarily knelt down. He crawled towards Jiang Tian and stuck out his tongue to lick Jiang Tian's shoes. What are you doing? Demons can be killed but not humiliated. Don't give me a quick slash. Bai Zhe hurriedly shouted, Stop, stop, don't. I'll submit. Jiang Tian stopped his hand gesture. Suddenly, the feather robe and Bai Zhe felt relaxed and returned to his human form. Jiang Tian laughed and said, You can move now. I won't move. I'll only move if I believe you. You must be playing with me. Bai Zhe sneered. It had been playing with eagles all its life, but in the end, it was pecked in the eye by a small family. It was being bullied by dogs in the demon plains. Bai Zhe, do you still want to lick my toes? Jiang Tian threatened in a light voice. Bai Zhe was shocked and jumped up. He spat a few times and did not dare to be presumptuous anymore. Jiang Tian smiled calmly and said, Bai Zhe, I heard that you are in charge of an ancient battlefield ruins and only you can enter. Is that right? Before Jiang Tian killed Fang Jingqiang, he used the Soul Devourer to seize his soul and memories. He knew that there was an ancient battlefield ruins here. His bronze chariots and warships, as well as the ability to summon the 8-armed demon god, were also obtained from here. Even the remnant soul of the demon god was born in this ancient battlefield ruins. What ruins? I don't know. Bai Zhe looked up at the sky with a confused expression. Hee. Jiang Tian made another hand gesture. I'll take you there now, okay? It's just a pile of junk. What's so great about it? Bai Zhe said angrily. Soon, Bai Zhe led everyone to a valley in Crimson Thunder Mountain. He used a secret technique to break the many seals. Suddenly, a long and narrow valley appeared. Solitary Sword Valley, this is it. Coincidentally, Solitary Sword Valley was the core area of the spiritual energy tide. The demon beasts here were also the most ferocious. Jiang Tian frowned and looked around. In the huge valley, there were many marks of swords and arrows. Even after thousands of years, they still had not disappeared. Moreover, this place was gray. Even if Jiang Tian activated his divine sense, he could only scan a few hundred meters away. This is the remnant of divine sense and killing intent. It seems that there were nascent soul and even soul formation experts who fought here. Otherwise, it would not have been preserved for so long. Jiang Tian saw this and was secretly shocked. There were many dilapidated bronze chariots here. Some were even made with the precious metal of the immortal world. Some were even more than 1,000 meters long. Even if they were rotten, they were still majestic and intimidating. This belongs to the refining techniques of modern cultivators. And the characters are not human characters. Jiang Tian sighed with a long gaze. Fang Jingqiang's bronze chariots and ancient warships all had kinetic reaction furnaces. They used energy stones similar to the energy stones used in exploding crystals to create kinetic energy. This was no longer a classical cultivator's artifact, but a modern one. Bai Zhe, where did these chariots come from? And where did you come from? Jiang Tian suddenly asked. Bai Zhe had a lifespan of 1,000 years. It should be the oldest creature on this continent, even older than the Starry Sky Palace. The information it knew should be the most authentic secret of this continent. This information is too old. I don't remember it. Bai Zhe lay lazily on the mountain rock. It looked like it would not say anything even if it was beaten to death. Jiang Tian was furious. He shouted angrily, If you want to lick my toes, don't say it. If you don't want to, say it now. You think I'm afraid of you? Bai Zhe sneered, but it had already opened its mouth. I'm the ruler of this continent. If you want to ask me for advice, you'd better be humble. Humble? I'll let you be humble. Jiang Tian laughed and formed a hand seal. I'll say it, okay? You're too impatient. Bai Zai glared at Jiang Tian and hurriedly said, "Speaking of which, it's been a few thousand years. I'm just a little demon, very young. This continent has already been formed. My master is the master of this continent. He's already a nascent soul cultivator and is known as the master of the holy heavens. In this starry sky, there was an ancient starry sky path that led directly to the ruins of immortality. But one day, the devil race came to attack. Jiang Tian heard this and suddenly moved. Was there really a spatial portal that led directly to the ruins of immortality? Chapter 936. However, according to what Jiang Haishan and the others had said, there was only a teleportation formation that led to the third-level secret sect. The devil race is very powerful. They can devour everything. Even though my heavenly god sect master is a nascent soul realm cultivator, he is still no match for him. In a moment of desperation, he had no choice but to destroy the teleportation formation and sever the ancient starry sky path. Bai Zai said smugly, "This solitary sword valley was left behind by my master's strike. Amazing, right?" Jiang Tian looked around. This gorge was about 10 miles long, and it was actually formed by someone's sword. He was indeed a nascent soul cultivator. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to slash apart a 10-mile-wide mountain with a single slash. The Holy Heaven sect leader was truly amazing. However, the intruder was no match for him. It could be seen how powerful the invaders were. Master also perished in that battle. However, I have Master's legacy. After several years, I finally condensed a Yao core and took human form. Moreover, I've become the master of the Stellar Sky Palace. Bai Zai sighed. Oh, how did it fall into the hands of Yuan Tiangang? Jiang Tian asked curiously. Yuan Tiangang is nothing. He's just a member of the Dragon Protector clan. Bai Zai's eyes were filled with arrogance as he laughed in disdain. Dragon Protector clan? Jiang Tian was puzzled. In other words, they are the families that guard the royal family of each dynasty. For example, those imperial preceptors, grand preceptors, trusted aides, and so on. Great Demon Bai Zai looked at Jiang Tian in surprise and gave him a look that said, Jiang Tian is ignorant. However, at that time, not to mention the Yuan family of the Dragon Protector, even the Li family of the Imperial family, which was the ancestor of Li Longyuan in the Tang dynasty, was just my disciple. You lick my toes every day. His face was filled with pride as he spoke. Then how did you lose the Heavenly Star Palace? Looking at his arrogant look, the veins on Jiang Tian's forehead twitched as he asked murderously. I don't care. Bai Zai's face flushed red, and then he laughed with disdain and said proudly, I want to conquer the sea of stars, the vast universe. A mere heavenly star small world is nothing to me. Jiang Tian could tell that he was a man with a story when he saw the resentment in his shyness. Nothing unusual happened during the day. It was inevitable that there would be internal strife, plots, and struggles within the sections. In the cultivation world, such things were not uncommon. Bai Zai, do you have any treasures? Can you lend me some? Jiang Tian smiled and said, What I need the most now is wood attribute great herbs and spirit plants. The more, the better. The ancient warships and many broken artifacts and divine weapons here could be used after some repairs. However, this was not what Jiang Tian valued the most. What Jiang Tian wanted was to further his cultivation. It would be best if his green dragon mystic water divine body could produce a wood elemental divine body. This would require a wood elemental divine wood spiritual plant as a primer. Lend to you? I'm afraid you're borrowing but not returning it? Bai Zai snorted angrily, but he had already stood up and said, There's a tree demon nearby. A few thousand years ago, it was on par with the leader of the Heavenly God sect. Back then, the leader of the Heavenly God sect had to join forces with a few nascent soul realm cultivators to suppress it. Later, the tree demon broke free during the Great War of Immortals and Demons. I joined forces with many top experts to suppress it again. That tree demon is very strong. It must be very nutritious. However, I'm afraid you can't eat it. Huh, there's nothing in this world that I can't eat. Jiang Tian sneered and scanned with his divine sense. Alright, then come with me. After passing through the solitary Sword Valley, you'll reach the chaotic Cloud Valley. There's a lake there, and that tree demon is by the lake. Bai Zhe sneered and led Jiang Tian into the depths of the solitary Sword Valley. There were traces of lightning burns on the dark mountain walls. The mountain path was winding and bumpy. On both sides of the mountain walls, huge trees covered the sky. It was as if they had broken free of the Earth's magnetic force. Grass grew out of the ground like swords and halberds, interweaving into a chaotic network. It was as if they had entered an upside-down and chaotic world. It was as if the cliff was the ground. The thick trees were extremely ancient. Some of them couldn't even be hugged by 10 people. Their roots were intertwined like dragons. Ghost flames could be seen under the roots. They were the bones of huge beasts. Some of the bones were so mutated that Jiang Tian couldn't recognize them. Strangely, these bones were on the cliff and not at the bottom of the valley. The leaves that fell from the trees also didn't fall to the bottom of the valley. Instead, they fell on the cliff. This valley was surprisingly clean. There weren't any rotten leaves. The large black dog accidentally bumped into a large rock that was floating in the air. The rock spun and flew to the side, still floating in the air. The rock is floating. What's going on? The large black dog was surprised. Back then, the Heavenly God Sect Master destroyed the teleportation formation and the gravity simulation formation. Moreover, the gravity formation here was damaged the most. Jiang Tian said calmly. Rumble. There was a loud noise. Suddenly, bolts of lightning as thick as buckets struck the forest. The huge trees that were struck instantly emitted black smoke and were charred black. However, the strange thing was, with a light pop, green sprouts emerged from the charred huge trees and grew rapidly. This must be the thunder meteorite wood. It can be used to create thunder element dharma treasures. It's priceless on Earth, but it can be seen everywhere here. This is the hidden power of this small world. Yi Tianren couldn't believe it. He was deeply moved. According to Jiang Tian's deduction, many of the hidden sects were continents that were separated from the ancient Earth. According to the cultivators of the Stellar Sky Domain, there were dozens of hidden sects like the Stellar Sky Domain. The biggest hidden sect's mystic realm, the Ruins of Immortality, was even bigger than all the other dimensions combined. How big was the ancient Earth? Even if the current Earth expanded by 10 times, it still wouldn't be comparable. Rustling sounds could be heard. In the forest, scorpions and strange insects that were taller than humans appeared from time to time. They bared their fangs and claws at Jiang Tian and the others. Humans? Roast it until it's medium well. It's definitely delicious. It's not fresh anymore when it's medium well. It's best to roast it over a fire. Once the hair is roasted, it can be eaten. It even squeaks when you eat it. It's the most delicious. Bullshit, medium well is still the best. Don't talk. The Demon King is here too. Maybe it's his friend. There were also huge demonic beasts that stuck their heads out to look. They had strange shapes and had fierce eyes. Their long saliva trailed on the ground as they discussed. However, when they saw the Demon King Bai Zhe, these poisonous insects and strange beasts all showed fear in their eyes. They either crawled on the ground, trembled, or retreated like the tide. Hey, this flower is so beautiful. The old dragon looked around happily. Suddenly, he saw a huge flower with colorful flowing lights emerging from the mountain wall. It immediately attracted his attention. This flower was the size of a water tank. It emitted a purple light and was crystal clear as if it was carved from a gem. It illuminated the space within a radius of a few hundred meters. The flower, branches, leaves, and stems swayed and twisted gently. It was as if a flower fairy was dancing. It was extremely beautiful and moving. It smells so good. Master, can I pick it and give it to Mistress? The large black dog acted cute. It stood up like a human, stuck its head out, closed its eyes, and breathed in the fragrance of the big purple flower. Suddenly, With a whoosh, the big purple flower's stem and leaves curved out like a poisonous snake. The huge flower instantly swallowed the old dragon's head. The petals closed tightly and picked him up. "Master, save me. I'm going to die." The old dragon's 4 dog paws tried to pull at the petals, but he couldn't pull them apart at all. Bang, bang, bang. He tried to transform into his dragon form. The essence chi in his body surged and expanded rapidly. However, he was immediately beaten back into his black dog form by the flower. "Alright, Azi, this is a guest. Don't be rash." Demon King Bai Zhe frowned and shouted in a low voice. "Pooh." The purple flower spat out the large black dog on the ground. It used its roots as 4 limbs and hopped away. Then, the roots of its legs stabbed into the mountain rocks and soil again. It swayed and danced as it waited for its prey. The large black dog was so scared that his face turned pale. His eyes were filled with fear, and his body was covered in sticky purple liquid. The liquid was very corrosive and fell to the ground. Instantly, it burned the mountain rocks and made crackling sounds. Green smoke rose, and holes appeared on the rocks. The group continued forward. This kind of purple flower appeared more and more. Some of the flowers were piles of white bones, some were half-melted corpses, and some were still alive. However, they were already on the verge of death. They were all Foundation establishment cultivators. Yi Tianren was secretly shocked. This place was indeed dangerous. No wonder the rebels and bandits of Demon Cave Mountain didn't dare to enter easily. "Are you embarrassed? You were almost eaten by someone." Jiang Tian looked at the large black dog mockingly. "That was when I was unprepared. Otherwise, I might not have lost." The old dragon frowned and said stubbornly. At this time, Jiang Tian noticed that the first stone tablet had appeared in the canyon. This stone tablet was more than 10 meters tall and had runes carved on it. Jiang Tian glanced at it and smiled. "Bai Zhe, you're not bad. Although you're a demon, you know demon-suppressing runes." "Hee, there's no demon that I can't suppress. Otherwise, how could I be the demon king that dominates this land? I'm very proficient in demon-suppressing runes," Bai Zhe said proudly. "The demon-suppressing runes you carved are too crude." Jiang Tian shook his head and said disdainfully. Bai Zhe's eyes flashed fiercely. It wanted to swallow Jiang Tian whole, but when it thought of the terrifying feather robe, star crown, and cloud shoes, it could only give up. "Moreover, you didn't recognize the demon-suppressing runes on the feather robe, star crown, and cloud shoes I gave you. You put them on so happily," Jiang Tian said casually as if he was taking a stroll. Bai Zhe wanted to cry but had no tears. However, it had to admit that its attainment in runes was not comparable to Jiang Tian's at all. It didn't even recognize the demon-suppressing runes. It thought they were protective runes. It was no wonder. Jiang Tian had mixed the protective runes with the demon-suppressing runes. The two complemented each other like salt and water. It was untraceable. Perhaps even the most powerful rune masters in the heavenly star small world couldn't recognize them. Hiss. Isn't it just a demon? Why are there so many demon-suppressing stone tablets? Why are there so many? At this time, Chu Yunxiu exclaimed. Suddenly, she saw the demon-suppressing stone tablets appear one after another. At a glance, there were dozens of them. Were they suppressing dozens of great demons? Hiss. Is this a tree demon? When everyone walked out of the solitary sword valley, they couldn't help but gasp. It was a circular valley with a radius of more than 10 miles. There was a big tree beside a lake. The tree was hundreds of meters tall. Its branches were like giant umbrellas that covered the sky and the sun, covering an area with a radius of about 1 mile. The surroundings of the giant tree were densely packed with demon-suppressing stone tablets. There were about hundreds of them. They couldn't see the end of them. They surrounded the big tree and the lake. Chapter 937. It's just a tree demon. Bai Zhe looked at Jiang Tian and said slowly, "But you need hundreds of demon-suppressing monuments to suppress it. This tree demon's cultivation level is no lower than mine." At that time, in order to subdue and suppress him, Dozens of my friends all died. Immortal Master Jiang, do you still dare? Chu Yunxiu was shocked. Could this giant tree be that monster? It was so big it was too scary. This tree demon's cultivation level was probably at the nascent soul level or even the nascent soul level. It's so big. Brother Jiang, I think those bronze chariots are worth a lot. Let's forget about this tree demon. It's too scary. Cold sweat broke out on Xiao Yingluo's forehead. Master, you must be careful. Yi Tianren looked serious. He stared at the giant tree and the densely packed demon-suppressing monuments and said in a low voice, "This tree demon is full of demonic qi. I'm afraid it's not an ordinary thing. Why don't you wait until your cultivation level is higher before refining it? It's indeed not an ordinary thing." Jiang Tian's expression also changed slightly. He looked at the tree seriously and couldn't calm down. Although it was full of demonic qi and even revealed traces of demonic qi, this was not a tree demon, but a very rare dancing tree. The dancing tree was also called the creation tree. Like the water of life, it was a divine object at the beginning of the chaos. When a star was born, it would first produce the 5 basic elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. With these elements as the foundation, it would cycle endlessly and give birth to other life forms. The basic water element was usually the water of life, origin water, mystic water, and other divine water. The basic wood element was usually the dancing tree, the Bodhi divine tree, or the natural green spirit wood. They contained unparalleled vitality and represented wisdom, power, and immortality. According to legend, Sakyamuni, the leader of the Buddhist sect on earth, had meditated for 7 days and 7 nights under a Bodhi tree. He had gained wisdom, gained enlightenment, and became a Buddha. Then, the most important sect in the East was born. If the Bodhi tree represented wisdom, then the dancing tree represented strength and vitality. In the world of cultivators, and even in the heavenly realm, some experts would use the whirling tree as the skeleton and support of the planet when they were condensing stars, creating small worlds, or even creating a universe, in order to stabilize the continent and energy. After the star had stabilized, it would be extracted or refined into infinite vitality to nourish the entire planet or world. The whirling tree in front of him was at least several thousand years old. It might not have been formed when the ancient earth was created. It could be said that the swaying divine tree was a famous wood elemental treasure in the cultivation world, not to mention that this tree was thousands of years old. The wood elemental spiritual energy contained in it was extremely vast and majestic. It was even more abundant than all the wood elemental treasures that Jiang Tian had gathered in the earth realm. The spirit core produced by this divine tree alone was enough to help Jiang Tian break through to the middle and late stages of the foundation establishment realm. Moreover, it was definitely a descendant of the divine tree and could be used as a catalyst for Jiang Tian to evolve into a wood elemental divine body. Jiang Tian's current cultivation was not high enough, and he was in urgent need of cultivation resources. Even if a golden core or nascent soul stage expert saw this wood elemental treasure, he would not be able to move. However, this swaying divine tree had been contaminated with a lot of demonic qi during the invasion of the gods and devils. Later, because many of the arrays had been destroyed by the heavenly god sect's master, the miasma here had exploded. It had absorbed a lot of miasma, so it had taken on a demonic form. Jiang Tian could not swallow it directly. He had to use a cultivation technique to completely refine it before he could swallow it. Maybe I can use that method to completely absorb this tree demon. No matter if it's the demonic qi or the wood elemental essence, none of it will be wasted, Jiang Tian frowned and pondered. Many valves to refine the demonic qi appeared in his mind. He gradually made up his mind. You don't dare to remove the demon-suppressing monument, right? You're afraid of this tree demon, aren't you? Chu Yunxiu cast a sidelong glance at Jiang Tian, her eyes full of contempt. She had been bullied badly by Jiang Tian these days. Especially when the big demon Bai Zhe was defeated by Jiang Tian, she felt even more defeated. At this time, seeing Jiang Tian's serious expression, she immediately thought that Jiang Tian did not have the ability to resist this tree demon. She wanted to provoke Jiang Tian into removing the demon's suppressing monument. Maybe the tree demon would regain its freedom and kill Jiang Tian. Before Jiang Tian could speak, a cry for help suddenly came from the lake in the distance. Help, help! The old dragon jumped onto the monument and looked listlessly. There's a woman taking a bath. Taking a bath? Is she drowning? Didn't you hear her call? Xiao Yingluo chuckled. She's taking a bath. When have you seen someone drowning and taking off all their clothes? The big black dog picked his nose and flicked out a stream of booger. Taking off all my clothes? I'm prettier than the girls in the spring fragrance brothel. Immortal Master Jiang, why don't you hurry up and take a look? Bai Zhe immediately rose into the air, jumped onto the stone tablet, and said with a smile. There was a naked woman in the lake. Her figure was enchanting and curvy, and she was extremely attractive. Brother Jiang is a gentleman. He won't look. Xiao Yingluo snorted, full of confidence in Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian did not look at the woman in the lake. He used his divine sense to explore and frowned, thinking about how to refine the demonic aura. Sir, outside, quickly come and save me. I just need to push down that monument, the woman screamed. If I can be saved, I'll repay you with my body. Kong Teichu, why don't you hurry up and save her? Chu Yunxiu said mockingly. Jiang Tian's thoughts were interrupted, and he couldn't help but frown. The old dragon flicked a stream of booger at Chu Yunxiu's face and snorted. Don't make trouble. At this moment, boom! Streaks of golden Buddha light pierced through the void like shooting stars. Eminent monks stepped on colorful golden lotuses and cut through the sky, sliding toward Jiang Tian. The woman in the lake glanced at the golden light, and her expression changed drastically. She dived into the water and disappeared. Abbot Pudu of the Demon Subduing Temple greets the #1 person on earth, Demon Cave Mountain Master, Kong Teichu. Master Pudu landed on the ground and walked over slowly. He put his palms together and bowed with a kind face. His body was huge, and streaks of golden Buddha light shone behind his head like a ring, very dazzling. Behind him was Zen Master Deshin, whom Jiang Tian had seen before, and many arhats, vajras, and protectors. There were as many as 300 people. Even though Zen Master Deshin was already at the 3rd level of the Foundation Establishment realm, he was ranked last here. The others were all people of the generation of his martial uncles. Almost all of them were at the perfected Foundation Establishment realm, not far from the False Core realm. When they arrived, the miasma immediately retreated, and the demonic chi dissipated. The wind was gentle, the clouds drifted, and the golden light shone. Even the lightning in the sky didn't dare to strike this area. The Demon Subduing Temple was indeed one of the 3 major sects under the Heavenly Star Palace. It had many experts and a deep foundation, even surpassing the huge cities like the border cities. Master Pudu, may I know why you are looking for me? Jiang Tian didn't hit a smiling person. He returned the greeting and nodded at Zen Master Deshin. However, Yi Tianren's expression was grave, and he was somewhat wary. Master Pudu had brought all the experts of the Demon Subduing Temple with him this time. It was obvious that they didn't come with good intentions and intended to attack. Master Pudu smiled and said, I'm here to resolve a dispute and return peace to the 2 worlds. I hope that Benefactor Jiang will let go of your grudges and convert to Buddhism. You will definitely attain the Tao. This is a great kindness. Beside him, the great demon Bai Zhe chuckled and said with a sinister voice transmission with his divine sense, he's trying to take advantage of you. He wants to take advantage of this opportunity to take you and the entire Demon Cave Mountain into his Demon Subduing Temple and strengthen his sect's strength. Now that the Demon Subduing Temple has obtained the border cities, they are quite powerful. I've seen this little bald thief before. He was still an innocent little monk. How did he become so ambitious now? Immortal Master Jiang, can you disperse the dermic powers of my star-crowned feather coat and cloud-slashing boots? Let's get rid of these little bald donkeys together. How about that? Jiang Tian ignored Bai Zhe and looked at Pudu with a faint smile. I really admire you for being willing to resolve your grudges for the sake of the people of the world. But why don't you let Li Longyuan convert to your demon-subduing temple first? Why should I, Kang Teichu, be the one to convert? Master Pudu's face stiffened. He then chanted the name of Buddha and said, Immortal Master Jiang, your cultivation is too weak. You are no match for Li Longyuan. If you insist on doing things your own way, you will definitely be killed by Li Longyuan. Moreover, your desire to kill is too strong. If you don't repent before Buddha, you will definitely become a demon one day. If you ask me, Li Longyuan's demonic heart is even stronger. Not only is he militaristic in this world, but he also wants to invade Earth. Jiang Tian said calmly, I've only killed a few people. Including those on Earth, are there 10,000 people? Li Longyuan has killed hundreds of thousands of people, hasn't he? If you want to convert people, then go convert Li Longyuan. He needs to be converted more than I do. When Master Pudu saw the two pretty little girls beside Jiang Tian, he shouted, Don't worry, Jiang Tian. Immortal Master Jiang, are you greedy for the beauty of the mortal world and worldly power? You have to know that all of this is like a pink skeleton, a stinky skin, a dream, and the fruit of the sin of marriage. In the end, it's all in vain. Old bald thief, don't talk nonsense. Jiang Tian snorted. I love this mortal world. So what? I'm giving you face by calling you master. I have something important to do. Get out of my way. If you talk nonsense again, I'll overturn your demon-subduing temple and wash your bald people with blood. Chapter 938. No Buddha in your heart. Devil. Greedy for the mortal world. Idiot. Too murderous. Sinful. The monks' expressions changed drastically. They couldn't sit still anymore. They chanted Buddha's name and yelled at Jiang Tian. Suddenly, dark clouds gathered. The golden light turned murderous, and a murderous aura filled the surroundings. Only Bai Zhe snickered, eager for the two sides to fight. Devil? Idiot? I'm sinful? Jiang Tian didn't want to pay attention to these old bastards, but when he saw them standing on the moral high ground, he couldn't help but be annoyed. He raised his eyebrows and asked, Master Pudu, eminent monks, let me ask you, if everyone becomes a monk, doesn't work, doesn't get married, and doesn't have children, will the human race be extinct in 100 or 1,000 years? Humans have no grudges with you. Why do you want to exterminate the human race? The monks were stunned and tongue-tied. The muscles on Pudu's cheeks twitched. He said coldly, Benefactor, you're bewitched. The demon-subduing temple has never turned people into monks. I'm talking about your military campaigns and the people of the world. What's the difference between me killing a few people and exterminating the human race? Jiang Tian asked. You, Master Pudu, and the monks were speechless. They were angry and embarrassed. Only Zen Master Dexin seemed to be in deep thought. Okay, let's not talk about that for now. I'll ask you again. Jiang Tian asked. I heard that the demon-subduing temple kills thousands of demons every year, but you preach mercy and don't kill. Was that demonic beast alive or not? Are they living? Demons are not our kind. The weak are prey to the strong. They should be killed. An Arhat roared. You eat grains and plants. Are plants and grains alive? Are you a prey to the strong? Jiang Tian asked. This is not the same thing. This Arhat was called Puzhao. He was Pudu's junior brother. He had a deep understanding of Buddhism and was best at Zen meditation. He often used questions and answers to lead people to become Buddhas. At this moment, he was questioned by Jiang Tian to the point that cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he was speechless. Jiang Tian took out a spiritual herb seed and channeled the green dragon mystic water technique to create fortune. Immediately, the seed germinated and spat out green leaves, forming branches. The leaves were green and lustrous, and flower buds emerged from them. With a pop, the flower bloomed, tender and beautiful. Is it beautiful? Jiang Tian asked softly with a trace of affection in his eyes. Beautiful. That Puzhao's eyes were a little infatuated as he said in a daze. Jiang Tian handed the flower to him and said indifferently, The seeds of flowers are the same as food, they both have life. How many lives have you eaten in your life? When will you repay them? If they had a spirit and absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to become demons, they would probably cry and shout, "You killed billions of their kind?" Have you ever thought that billions of souls of plants and creatures would surround you, crying and howling at you day and night? You all say that all living things are equal, that flowers and plants have spirits, but when they become demons, you all want to subdue demons, get rid of demons, and defend the Tao. Don't they feel wronged? As soon as Jiang Tian finished speaking, the scene became deathly silent. That Pu Zhao held the flower in his hand and his body trembled violently. His expression became more and more fearful, as if the flower had turned into an evil spirit that wanted to take his life. Suddenly, he fell to the ground and wailed, "I've eaten countless of your kind. My sins are deep and difficult to resolve. I'm willing to become a pile of ashes to raise you." After he finished speaking, countless karmic flames ignited around his body, instantly burning him into ashes. His magic power was deep and profound, and the flower was not harmed at all. It fell into the ashes, but it was still bright and glistening, gently swaying. "Senior brother Pu Zhao, you're silly." Everyone was dumbfounded. They didn't dare to believe it and couldn't say a word. "Kong Teichu, you said that you killed people because of evil arts. You're slandering Buddha. Your sins are unforgivable." Only after a few seconds did a few high monks shout out in shock and despair. "You can eat plants and flowers, so why can't flowers eat you?" Jiang Tian said calmly. "What's the difference between him sacrificing himself to feed the flower and the Buddha cutting his flesh to feed the eagle and the ancient Moko Saching sacrificing himself to feed the tiger in the Ksitigarbha Sutra? In the legend, Moko Saching later became Buddha and I helped Pu Zhao become Buddha. Why do you blame me? Why do you say that Pu Zhao is silly? Maybe, in your hearts, you think that it's meaningless. Then, why do you cultivate Buddhism?" Jiang Tian's words were actually very suspicious of sophistry, but it was something that many eminent monks had never thought of and it had a great impact on them. The monks' minds shook and evil thoughts appeared. Their Buddhist hearts were damaged and their expressions changed drastically. Cold sweat broke out on their bodies and they all chanted incantations to suppress their inner demons. There was even a monk who suddenly took off his monk robe and pulled out his prayer beads. He flew into the air and roared loudly. "I'm used to killing and burning. I've been abstaining from meat and praying to Buddha all these years. I only feel that I've lived in vain. Now that I've heard Cultivator Tai Chu's words, I feel that I've lived my life in vain. I'm going to renounce asceticism. Don't listen to his nonsense. It's all about the fiend path." The light of Buddha behind Master Pudu shone brightly as he shouted, trying to wake the monks up. "The law of the jungle is not a problem at all. Eating is just a kind of instinct." Jiang Tian's eyes flashed with a trace of vicissitudes. He said coldly, "But in this world, some people and some ideas are even more terrifying than the law of the jungle. Many people have food to eat, but they still want to kill, invade, and control others, because they can get endless pleasure from killing, controlling, and bullying. That's the scary thing. The demons you're suppressing are not true demons. The demons you're killing are not evil demons. How can you talk about eliminating demons and protecting the Tao?" "Kong Teichu, what a sharp-tongued man!" Master Pudu shouted and then said, "You'll go to hell in your next life if you continue to act recklessly like this." "Act recklessly?" Jiang Tian smiled and said casually, "I'm fighting for the safety of the 6 billion people on Earth. Why is that considered acting recklessly? Should the human race on Earth be killed by the Sky Star Palace, the other hidden sects and the ruins of deity? If the world of the hidden sects invades Earth, Earth will become hell. Then, did all the humans on Earth commit sins in their previous lives? Since we're already in the dark hell, why should we be afraid of hell? I only want to fight with you and go to hell together." "And the next life," Jiang Tian revealed a mocking expression and said, "I don't want any blessings in my next life or to live a glorious life. I don't want to go to the Western paradise either. I only want to travel 1,000 miles with a sword in this life, drink the strongest wine, ride the fastest flying sword and kill the most ruthless people. I only want to live a vigorous and happy life now. Asking for the next life is just a coward's behavior that doesn't dare to face in this life. It's just a trick to scare people in the next life. Master, why do I suddenly feel that immortal Master Jiang is making a lot of sense? Zen Master Dashin said with a confused face. Bullshit. He's misleading people with his lies. He's just messing with people's minds. Master Pudu snorted. He doesn't have the root of wisdom. Master Pudu shook his head and sighed. Whoever wants to have it will have it. I don't care about having it. Jiang Tian smiled mockingly, unmoved. This person has killed without restraint and has repeatedly stirred up bloodshed. He even said that he would kill senior brother Pu Zhao and slandered Buddha. Master, kill him. Yes, Master. Punishing evil is promoting good. Today, we'll kill this bastard and get rid of the evil. Quite a few monks were furious, killing intent surging. They wanted to attack Jiang Tian and kill him all. Even Master Pudu wanted to kill him in an instant. Zen Master Dashin quickly knelt and begged, Master, you promised me that you would never threaten immortal Master Jiang. He saved me before. Jiang Tian glanced at Zen Master Dashin and had a good impression of him. This kid was quite humane. All right, immortal Master Jiang. I know that you're the most powerful person on earth. You've been undefeated your whole life. Master Pudu thought for a moment and suppressed his anger. He smiled and said, but the Buddhist Dharma of the demon-subduing temple is boundless. It's not something you can imagine. How about this? This tree demon's Dharma is powerful. I'll convert him with my Buddhist Dharma, and you use your own methods to subdue him. If I win, you'll be my registered disciple. You'll abstain from meat and chant Buddhist scriptures for 30 years to resolve the evil in your heart. You'll kill less in the future. If you can subdue him, then I'll be considered inferior to you. You can do whatever you want with me. Master Pudu, I'm afraid that you won't be able to subdue and convert this tree demon. Instead, you'll be killed. I think you'd better be careful. Jiang Tian said lightly. I have my ways to get rid of the demon-subduing monument. Benefactor Jiang, are you afraid to take the risk? Master Pudu's tone was light, but his face was full of arrogance. He clearly meant that Kong Teichu might not be able to do it, but the demon-subduing temple might be able to. I'm just afraid that you won't dare to take the risk. Master, we need to be more cautious. Zen Master Dashin said nervously, I heard that this tree demon is very fierce and terrifying. Once, a powerful person from the Heavenly Star Palace came here and was bewitched and devoured by it. Dashin, you only know one thing but not the other. Master Pudu smiled and said, this tree demon has actually been subdued twice by the leader of the Heavenly God sect and the great demon Baizhe. The leader of the Heavenly God sect and the great demon Baizhe are not kind people, so they must have subdued a good demon. Yi Tianren glanced at Baizhe. Don't Master Pudu and the others know Baizhe? They're not even in the same generation as me. Speaking of which, his grandmaster is barely in the same generation as me. How can Master Pudu know me? Baizhe smiled coldly and sent a voice transmission to Jiang Tian. However, in addition to the Heavenly Star Palace, the demon-subduing temple also tried to harm me back then. I just don't know if it's this little bald donkey's master or his grandmaster. How can they say good things about me now? They only have interests in their eyes. What good and evil do they have? Chapter 939. Master. Dexan wanted to say something but stopped. He felt it was inappropriate. Get rid of the demon-suppressing monument. Pudu wanted to intimidate Jiang Tian. How could he be weak? He didn't care at all. At this time, the woman in the lake popped her head out of the water again. Half of her shoulders were exposed. She said in a sad voice, Senior monk, I was suppressed by Baizhe for hundreds of years. Our hatred is as deep as the ocean. We can't live under the same sky. Senior monk, please save me. I'll repay you with my body. Pudu smiled bitterly and said loudly, I'm a monk. I don't need you to repay me with your body. From now on, you will abstain from eating meat and recite Buddhist scriptures. You will no longer harm others. I'll break the seal here and let you out. I'm willing to convert. The woman was surprised and overjoyed. Jiang Tian frowned and said, Master Pudu, if you let this monster out, it may be even more terrifying than Bai Zhe. It will bring chaos to the entire Demon Cave Mountain and even the entire Heavenly Star small world. It's just a tree demon. What's so scary about it? Master Puxian of the Arhat Hall of the Demon Suppressing Temple stepped forward and said proudly, I've killed 300 monsters. What kind of monsters haven't I seen? Let's see how we are going to convert this tree demon. Master Pugue of the Sutra Depository sneered and said, Kong Teichu, you're the most powerful person on earth. I didn't expect you to be afraid of a tree demon. If you don't dare to compete, just admit defeat and convert to Buddhism. Then go to the Demon Suppressing Temple and reflect on your mistakes. Master Puguang of the Law Enforcement Hall snorted, If you can convert her, then convert her. If you can't, just kill her. The Demon Suppressing Temple is never afraid of these things. Chu Yunxiu also snorted disdainfully, Master Tai Chu Celestial, are you really afraid? Aren't you always confident and domineering? Jiang Tian was too lazy to pay attention to her. He looked at Pudu and said indifferently, Pudu, if you want to mess around, you don't have to ask us to save you. The terror of this thing is not something you can imagine. The whirling divine tree was originally a strange creature and had the power of a nascent soul cultivator. It had also absorbed a lot of fiend qi and miasma, which made it even more ferocious. Even if Jiang Tian wanted to take it down, he would have to use many divine abilities and secret arts by force, let alone these monks of the Devil's Subduing Temple who were only at the false core foundation establishment realm. If they made a move, they had no chance of winning at all. It was simply sending their heads to their deaths. Fellow Taoist Grand Primordium, you're too ignorant. You don't know the methods of my Devil Suppressing Temple. I'm sure you've seen my Devil Suppressing Temple's supreme dharma, and you'll also have the resolve to convert. Pudu shouted as he slapped a demon suppressing steel away. After that, the Arhats, eminent monks, and Dharma protectors all showed off their abilities. They either shattered the demon's subduing monument or overturned it. Rumble! The mountains shook. It was as if there were countless gigantic dragons that were hundreds of feet long moving about underground. The gigantic tree slowly rose up, and there was a gigantic black ball under its roots. The black ball kept bulging, as if it were a ball of thread that was entangled with countless black threads. Those python-like roots wriggled crazily. Countless white bones were entangled between the roots, and there were at least a few hundred of them. She's eaten so many people before? Zen Master Dashin looked at those white bones and couldn't help but feel terrified. Right then, he vaguely realized that this root demon might be even more powerful and terrifying than Li Longyuan, Monster King Bai Zhe and the master of the Heavenly God sect, who had dominated this continent back then. So scary. Chu Yunxiu's face also changed color. She turned pale and cold sweat covered her back. My Buddha is merciful. The sea of bitterness is boundless. Repent and you'll be saved. Tree demon, put down your knife and you'll be able to become a Buddha immediately. Convert. Zen Master Pudu shouted with a kind face and an infinite light shining from his body. I'm free. I'm finally free. Countless shrill voices sounded in all directions. In the valley, around the lake and on the mountain, more roots surged out and waved. On top of each root, there was a naked, seductive woman. Suddenly, the expressions of all the seductive women changed. They became extremely evil and sinister. Thousands of seductive women spoke together. Their complicated voices made one's scalp tingle. Monster Bai Zhe said I ate too many people and suppressed me here. Thank you bald insects for letting me go. I can finally eat people again. The beauties on the roots suddenly turned into sharp swords, spears, and skeletons that attacked the monks. 8 styles of demon suppression. Golden bell shield of Buddha light. Thunder divine fist. The eminent monks shouted in unison and executed their dharma and divine arts. Rumble. Some monks formed huge golden bells that shone with golden light to cover their bodies. Some punched at the roots, and lightning condensed into a huge fist. Some opened ancient Buddhist scriptures. Large golden characters flowed out and formed a barrier. But everything was useless in front of the sharp roots. Blood splattered. The shrill screams made one's hair stand on end. In the blink of an eye, several monks of the demon suppression temple were pierced by the roots of the tree demon. Suddenly, the whole place was filled with shrill screams. The golden bell shield of Samantabhadra was easily pierced by the roots as if it was made of wax. Blood gushed out like a tide as the root pierced through his chest and lifted him up high. At the same time, countless arm-like tentacles stretched out from the roots and grabbed him tightly. Let go of me. Although Samantabhadra practiced Buddhist telekinesis, his cultivation was comparable to the late stage of foundation establishment. He didn't die immediately. Blood spurted out of his mouth like arrows, but he still punched at the roots. Why should I let you go? The roots that pierced through his chest transformed into a beautiful woman. She stuck out her scarlet tongue and licked his smooth scalp while giggling. You saved me. I haven't repaid you yet. Stay and become one with me. Then she opened her mouth to the extreme. Her ears were torn. At the same time, her head expanded rapidly and turned into a devil head that was as dense as black glue. She swallowed Samantabhadra. Soon, Samantabhadra's face appeared on another root that was growing and expanding rapidly. He still looked like the original, but his voice had changed. He laughed wildly and said, "Senior brother, come on. Become one with me. It feels so powerful." It sounded so evil that it made one's scalp tingle. This scene scared many monks out of their wits. Their legs turned to jelly. Die, evildoer! Master Poo Poo soared into the sky. He waved the crescent moon shovel and cut off the head of the beauty who ate Samantabhadra. The beauty's head fell to the ground and immediately rotted into a piece of rotten wood. The woman on the tree grew a new head. My crescent moon shovel has been strengthened by Grandmaster's Buddhist doctrine. It can even kill a demon beast in the false elixir realm. Master Poo Poo was shocked. He soared into the sky again, trying to cut off the root. Suddenly, a branch as thick as an arm snaked over like a poisonous snake. It was faster than lightning and pierced through his internal organs. It hurts. Samantabhadra shouted. He used his Buddhist magic and condensed countless light swords, trying to cut off the branches. However, the 10 or so branches and vines exerted their strength together and pulled in all directions as if they were being torn apart by 5 horses. Bang! Bang! Master Poo Poo exploded into pieces and turned into a rain of sparkling flesh that fell to the ground. Senior brothers and junior brothers, let's go first. Anyway, this demon is in the Demon Cave Mountain. Even if she kills people indiscriminately, she will only kill the bandits of the Demon Cave Mountain. We can be considered to have gotten rid of the evil for the people. Master Pu Guang's heart almost exploded when he saw his senior brothers and junior brothers dying one by one. Cold sweat covered his back and he could no longer be proud. He soared into the sky on a lotus seat made of Buddhist light. His speed was so fast that he could cover hundreds of meters with a single step. Between the messy roots, branches, and leaves, he dashed left and right, flying higher and higher. In the blink of an eye, he had covered a distance of 1 mile. Run! Run! This demon tree is too scary. The other monks were also scared out of their wits. They cried for their parents and used their movement techniques to escape in all directions while riding on rays of light. But suddenly, with a rumbling sound, the rubble on the ground below flew into the air. Black tentacles full of bumps stretched out from the rocks like the hands of demons and entangled Master Pu Guang and the monks who wanted to escape. Let me go! Master Pu Guang was shocked. He used the Buddha's Vajra hand and slapped at the tentacles. At the same time, the prayer beads, wooden fish, small drum, and alms bowl on his body emitted Buddhist light and exploded. But it was useless. The Buddhist light was absorbed by the demon tree. His flesh and blood disappeared in the blink of an eye and he became a shriveled skin bag. How can this be? How can it be so powerful? Seeing his senior brothers and junior brothers being swallowed by the demon tree one by one, Master Pudu was dumbfounded. He could not believe it. Then, he opened his eyes wide and roared like a thunderclap, "Tree demon, you better submit to me. Otherwise, this poor monk will slay the demon." "Ha, bald donkey, do you have that ability?" The demon tree laughed strangely. Thousands of women spoke at the same time, waving their tentacle-like branches and roots. "Thousand-armed Buddha!" Master Pudu shouted. The halo of Buddhist light behind his head shone brightly. His psyche power, chi, and Buddhist light gushed out and turned into a figure of 1,000 hands that was 100 meters tall and had 1,000 arms behind him. "Kill!" Master Pudu shouted and attacked together with the 1,000-armed Buddha behind him. Violent waves of chi surged out, blowing up smoke and dust. Rocks flew everywhere, and the 10-meter-long stone tablet was blown away like a withered leaf. Boom! The 1,000-armed Buddha stepped forward like an ancient deity and came to the demon tree. The thousands of Dharma artifacts and weapons in its hands smashed at the demon tree. "Ha, Master Pudu, even your grandmaster was no match for me back then. You're underestimating me by using the 1,000-armed Buddha against me," the thousands of women of the demon tree said contemptuously. Suddenly, countless roots surged and entangled, forming a giant ball of thread with a radius of 10 meters in the blink of an eye. It vaguely took the shape of a fist. The fist made of roots covered the sky. It was enormous and surging with fiend chi. It fell from the sky and smashed at the head of the 1,000-armed Buddha. Chapter 940. Clang. The 1,000-armed Buddha was smashed into the ground. The golden Buddha's aura dimmed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Rumble! The explosion was earth-shattering. Billowing waves of air blasted out, creating a huge crater with a radius of dozens of meters. Master Pudu suffered the backlash of his dermic powers. He spat out a mouthful of blood and staggered back. 3 of his ribs were broken. Delicious, delicious! What a fragrant monk! The tree demon did not stay idle when it repelled Master Pudu. Its countless roots continued to attack the other eminent monks. In the blink of an eye, dozens of eminent monks died. Their corpses were devoured and absorbed. They could not escape even if they wanted to. "Tree demon, shut up!" Master Pudu threw out a 1,000-layer pagoda, golden alms bowl, prayer beads, and many other Dharma treasures to suppress it. The pagoda was filled with Buddha's aura. Scriptures floated in the prayer beads, emitting 100 feet of light. But it was useless. In the blink of an eye, the tree demon tainted the Dharma treasures with demonic chi and dispersed their dermic powers. What? It destroyed more than a dozen of my Dharma treasures in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, Master Pudu's heart sank into the abyss with a thud. He hurriedly shouted, "Master, we can't run." Zen Master Dashin used his dermic powers to resist, but he wanted to cry but had no tears. The tree demon's range was too wide. It covered the entire valley. Every time they rushed to the edge of the valley, countless roots would sweep them back and force them back. "Master, what should we do?" "Abbot, help!" Countless monks were shouting and screaming. Their voices were extremely shrill. This was a scene dyed in blood, tragic to the extreme. Blood dyed the sky. The eminent monks' dermic powers were broken by the branches and their bodies were pierced. The tree demon's branches were like the tentacles of a giant octopus. They danced in the air, entangling the arhats and strangling them to death. Demonic chi and demonic chi surged into the sky like a tide. The Vajra's chi and blood were absorbed in the blink of an eye. They were reduced to dry corpses. Some had even turned into white bones. How could this be? How could this be? Is the demon-subduing temple going to end here today? At this moment, Master Pudu was at his wit's end. The bald donkey was at his wit's end. His heart was filled with despair and regret. He finally realized in despair how wrong he was. He had eyes but failed to see. Jiang Tian's reminder was on point and pertinent. At this moment, he was filled with regret. If he had listened to Jiang Tian, how could he have suffered such a great loss? In today's battle, the demon-subduing temple had suffered heavy losses. They had tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. This could be said to be their greatest loss in several hundred years. Suddenly, Master Pudu wondered if Kong Taechu had perished in the battle since the tree demon was so ferocious. He glanced around from the corner of his eyes and saw that Jiang Tian and the others had already retreated to the entrance of the valley. Jiang Tian's body emitted a dazzling golden light, forming a protective shield that firmly protected his companions. Those roots were like bloodthirsty vipers, constantly drilling into the golden barrier. However, they were bounced off by the light shield time and time again and even exploded in the air. Jiang Tian and the others were not hurt at all. "Fellow Taoist Jiang, help us." Master Pudu suddenly realized that Jiang Tian had the ability to restrain these roots. He shouted with tears in his eyes. "Master Pudu, I owe you. Why should I save you? Besides, it's not like I didn't warn you. You're the ones who are confident." Jiang Tian did not bother to pay attention to him. He flung his sleeves and snorted coldly. This. Master Pudu was speechless. Jiang Tian was right. Today, they came to threaten Jiang Tian. They even wanted to kill Jiang Tian. If Jiang Tian did not surrender, they would kill him. Now, they were begging Jiang Tian for help. This was a bit too much. Tai Chu Immortal Master, we were wrong. Please suppress them. Zen Master Dashin flew to Jiang Tian and knelt down to beg. Yes, Brother Jiang, please save them. Besides, if this root demon rushes out, the Demon Cave Mountain will also suffer. Now, the Demon Cave Mountain is your territory, right? Xiao Yingluo also tried to persuade him. All right then, I'll do it. Dashin, remember that you owe me a favor. Jiang Tian pondered for a while and finally shook his head with a bitter smile. Originally, he wanted to refine and absorb this whirling divine tree. The reason why he did not do it was because he was thinking about the most effective secret technique just now. Now that he was 100% sure, it was not bad to do Dashin a favor. Dashin kowtowed again and again, full of gratitude. Meanwhile, the big demon Bai Zhe and Chu Yunxiu looked smug as if their evil plan had succeeded. After Bai Zhe was subdued by Jiang Tian with the feather robe, star crown, and cloud-slashing boots, he had been thinking hard about how to break it. He had tried many times but failed. He knew that if Jiang Tian was still alive and kept strengthening these demon suppression talismans, he would never have the chance to break it. But if Jiang Tian was dead, it would be a different story. With his powerful divine sense, he would definitely be able to erase the demon suppression talisman's magic power in 10 years. At that time, he would regain his freedom. Therefore, he thought of a way, and that was to use the root demon to kill Jiang Tian. Moreover, he did not expect that Jiang Tian would take the initiative to ask for wood attribute cultivation resources. It was exactly what he wanted. However, he did not expect that the Demon Suppression Temple's Darn Baldies would suddenly attack and insist on uprooting the Demon Suppression Steels to convert the tree demon. They were the first to bear the brunt, which made Jiang Tian realize how powerful and terrifying these tree demons were. Bai Zhe immediately lost all hope. How could Kong Taechu dare to fight the tree demons to the death? He did not expect that Jiang Tian would be so foolish and bold as to fight the tree demons to save these Baldies. At this time, Bai Zhe was overjoyed. He was so happy that he wanted to jump up. Kong Taechu, oh Kong Taechu, hurry up and go to your death. Even I can't beat this thing, huh? He was so happy that he accidentally said Baldies. He hurriedly covered his mouth, his eyes full of shock. Ah, I heard it. Jiang Tian turned to look at him and sneered. Do you think that I can't kill this tree demon? Bai Zhe's eyes darted around, his mind whirling. Suddenly, he made up his mind and decided to goad him. He snorted arrogantly. You can't kill him. If you can kill him, I'll kneel down and lick your toes, and be your underling. The sincere kind. I also think that you can't kill him. Chu Yunxiu also decided to add fuel to the fire. She said disdainfully, I think you're just scared. If I kill him, you'll lick him too? Jiang Tian said sarcastically. Chu Yunxiu gnashed her teeth in hatred, wishing that she could swallow Jiang Tian alive. She snorted. Fine, I'll lick him. Anyway, you'll die if you go out. I'll let you show off. Good. Jiang Tian snorted and walked toward the tree demon casually. Master, be careful. Yi Tianren warned. He was very worried for Jiang Tian. After all, this tree demon was too scary. However, he was immediately shocked. What a solid true essence. You don't come from this world. When Jiang Tian approached, the thousands of women on the tree demons all revealed expressions of fear and dread. It was like a cat whose hair was standing on end. Countless tentacle-like roots, branches, and leaves threw many monks aside. They wriggled like giant pythons and turned into all kinds of weapons. They even took the forms of all kinds of strange demon beasts and attacked Jiang Tian together. This kid actually made a move. Master Pudu was very pleased. There was a strange light in his eyes, and there was even a hint of gloating. It's best if both sides are injured, then I'll kill them both. I want everyone in the world to become my believers and worship me. Moreover, at that time, I can say that it was Kong Teichu who pulled out the demon-suppressing monument and colluded with the tree demon. The monks of the demon-suppressing temple were all killed by Kong Teichu. I won't be responsible. After all, it was his idea to pull out the demon-suppressing monument, reveal the endless Buddhist power, and convert Jiang Tian. However, he made a big mistake and caused the death of the monks of the demon-suppressing temple. He had become a sinner of the demon-suppressing temple. Moreover, if the tree demon rushed out, it would bring disaster to Demon Cave Mountain and even the entire Heavenly Star small world. He would become the target of public criticism, the laughingstock of the world, the evil of the world. Go to hell! Jiang Tian walked toward the tree demon step by step. He shouted and patted the sky-devouring demon gourd at his waist. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. What? He can cut off the tree demon's branches? Chu Yunxiu's face was pale with fright. She never thought that Jiang Tian would be so powerful. This kid's flying sword is so sharp. Bai Zai's face was filled with disbelief. The tree demon had been around for too long. Even the master of the heavenly god couldn't kill it. He could only use the demon-suppressing monument to suppress it. Moreover, it was suppressed by the master of the heavenly god and hundreds of nascent soul realm ancestors. Thousands of years ago, when the foreign experts invaded, the tree demon was infected with demonic chi and became even stronger. Then, the master of the heavenly god split open the galaxy teleportation formation and formed the solitary sword valley. He unintentionally split open the demon's suppressing monument. At that time, only one of the tree demon's roots was freed. However, it became even stronger. It killed thousands of immortals, demonic beasts, and human cultivators. Thousands of years ago, Bai Zai, who had reached the nascent soul realm, joined forces with many ancestors to suppress the tree demon. In that battle, dozens of nascent soul realm and false core realm experts were killed. The heavenly star small world suffered a great loss. It fell from a third-grade cultivation world to a fourth-grade cultivation world. That battle had only been able to suppress a single tendril within Solitary Sword Valley. It could be said that even Li Longyuan, Bai Zai, and the master of the heavenly god didn't dare to attack the tree demon. The few times they attacked, they had joined forces with many experts. If it was a one-on-one battle, none of the experts in the stellar sky domain had the ability to fight. But now, Jiang Tian didn't seem to be at a disadvantage. How could he not be shocked? Chapter 941. Roar, roar, roar. Countless branches were cut off. The tree demon howled miserably like thousands of ghosts, making people's scalp numb. Boom. Thousands of branches and roots wriggled quickly and condensed into a ball, forming a huge ball of thread with a radius of more than 10 meters. It crazily smashed towards Jiang Tian. Seal. Jiang Tian used a seal technique. Boom. Surging restriction power spread out in all directions and surged towards the tree demon like a tide. Boundless restrictive power flickered with golden light. Boundless runes floated up and down, like the flickering of stars. In the blink of an eye, the seal enveloped the tree demon and formed a huge seal ball with a radius of 1 kilometer with it as the center. The tree demon was immediately fixed in place. Its branches and roots were frozen in the air like dead snakes. Countless beautiful women on the tree were full of resentment. They crazily twisted their bodies and hissed, Let me go. You little thief, let me go and I'll spare you this time. Otherwise, I'll cut you into pieces. Cut! Thousands of flying swords didn't stop. They shuttled back and forth in the air like fish, cutting off branches one by one. His restrictive power is actually so profound and vast. Monster King Bai Zhe was deeply shocked again. Chu Yunxiu was also stunned. She looked at Jiang Tian as if she had seen a ghost. Her face was full of disbelief. This was the tree demon that even the master of the Heavenly God sect and Monster King Bai Zhe were wary of. However, it was restrained by Jiang Tian. But the more shocking thing was yet to come. Whether it was the flying swords or the seal technique, they were just means that Jiang Tian controlled. The real killing move hadn't been used yet. Swish. This tree demon was very powerful. Several python-like roots actually broke free from the restraints of the restriction after twisting crazily. The root heads turned into spears and sharp swords, streaking across the sky and piercing towards Jiang Tiandong. Heaven swallowing demonic art, sun furnace. Jiang Tian's expression turned serious. He let out a low shout and finally used his strongest move. Buzz. A voice like a great bell shook the void. In front of Jiang Tian's chest, a huge true essence furnace gradually emerged. At first, the furnace was very small, only a few meters in radius. However, it quickly expanded and became larger and larger. In the blink of an eye, it had reached a radius of several hundred meters, completely enveloping the entire tree demon, including its roots and branches. What is this? Let me out. Sir, this concubine is convinced. Let this concubine go. This concubine is willing to make your bed and fold your quilt for you. I'll be your maid and make you happy. Little thief, let me out. Otherwise, I'll tear you into 1,000 pieces and burn your bones to ashes. On top of the tree demons, countless women had different expressions and tones. Some had tears in their beautiful eyes, and they were pleading pitifully. Some had terrified faces, and they were screaming miserably. Some were baring their teeth, and they were shouting angrily. But no matter what, they were unable to break free from the control of the secret technique of the Great Sun Furnace. Even the branches that had risen up to attack had fallen to the ground like dead snakes. This furnace is so scary. Bai Zhe knew what was good and looked at the Great Sun Furnace in shock. The furnace was simple and natural in shape. Countless Tao patterns and runes were carved on it. Each line was profound and cryptic, carrying with it the aura of time. It seemed to have come from the primordial chaos of the beginning of the universe, crossing tens of thousands of years. It did not belong to this world at all. In the blink of an eye, huge blazing dragons formed in the depths of the furnace. They stretched and surged, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws as they lunged at the tree demon. There were also huge blazing suns floating in the air. They were like halos of the sun, emitting endless blazing light. Jiang Tian had once used the Great Sun Furnace of the heaven-devouring demonic technique against the leader of the Great Circle, Lin Zhenyu. But at that time, Jiang Tian was only at the middle stage of qi refinement and could only imitate some of its charm. But now that Jiang Tian had reached foundation establishment, its power had increased tenfold, 100-fold. But what is this? Let me out. It hurts. The tree demon howled miserably. The roots and vines waved crazily and emitted billowing black fiend qi, trying to resist. But the flames in the Great Sun Furnace were red like boiling magma. Many blazing suns shone in the sky, almost like the essence of the sun. Its temperature and dharma power far exceeded the flames of the samadhi true fire and li fire essence. The vines and roots could not rush out at all. The billowing fiend qi was also quickly burned away. The roots were ignited and the woman inside was turned into charcoal, being refined bit by bit. But the heaven-devouring demonic technique was too powerful. It was an immortal emperor-level technique. The Great Sun Furnace was one of the most powerful techniques, comparable to a supreme divine artifact. It could refine all fiend qi, miasma, poison, and true essence. If Jiang Tian used it after reaching the true god level, he could even swallow a star and refine a part of the universe. But now, Jiang Tian had the power of a fourth-level foundation establishment. Although he could only imitate a few hundred square meters, it was extremely easy for him to subdue a tree demon that had just reached nascent soul level. Moreover, this tree demon had been suppressed for 1,000 years and had not eaten for a long time. It was already in its weakest state. Jiang Tian had the power to crush it. How is this possible? I'm a 10,000-year-old tree demon. I'm nourished by fiend qi and have absorbed endless poison. Even the master of the heavenly god sect is no match for me. How can you suppress me? The tree demon roared angrily like a fiend god that had walked out of hell, with endless killing intent and resentment. He used all kinds of methods in a frenzy. Countless branches and roots turned into swords, spears, swords, and halberds. They turned into demon beasts and ferocious birds and charged, wanting to tear the great sun furnace apart. Kong Teichu is going to win. I can't wait any longer. This is the time. Master Pudu's eyes hardened. He released a Buddha plaque at the back of Jiang Tian's head, wanting to take the opportunity to kill Jiang Tian. Master Chu, Dexin noticed this and couldn't help but cry out in alarm. It's useless. The more you use it, the more your fiend qi will be nourished by my great sun furnace. The power of the great sun furnace will also become stronger. Jiang Tian didn't seem to notice Pudu's sneak attack. His face was calm as he firmly controlled the great sun furnace and refined it unhurriedly. His clothes fluttered, his face was as calm as still water, and his temperament was otherworldly. He didn't look like the senior monks of the demon-subduing temple who were anxious and angry when fighting. He was like a supreme god that had descended. Refining a big demon was like cooking a small fish. He looked relaxed and casual. But I'm not confident. Seeing that Jiang Tian was completely crushing him, Pudu's heart trembled, but he still took back the Buddha plaque that had flown 100 meters away. Because Jiang Tian's strength was too terrifying, he felt that his sneak attack this time might not succeed. You demon, what kind of demonic magic are you using? It's so terrifying. Sure enough, the tree demon found that the endless fiend qi, and vitality were all being absorbed by the great sun furnace, causing the vital essence in the shape of a giant dragon to boil even more. Beside him, Xiao Yingluo wanted to laugh. Brother Jiang was really too powerful and too fierce. He was actually called a demon by a big demon. He was really a demon among demons. At this time, the tree demon's branches and roots turned to ashes. Countless leaves and branches rustled and fell. The women on the branches and roots all withered and withered. Even half of the thick tree trunk was burned. It was about to die. Kill. I can't die, I won't die. Suddenly, the tree demon roared. Waves of black fiend qi floated out of the trunk and gathered into a huge skeleton demon. It opened its mouth and rushed toward Jiang Tian. At this time, he had already realized that his body was about to die, so he used the black fiend qi to attack. Soul-devouring divine sense, eat it for me. Jiang Tian snorted. The small golden lake in his forehead swayed, and a black soul-devouring divine sense probed out like sticky black glue. The soul-devouring divine sense was as thick as a bucket. It divided into 2 in the air, 2 into 3, 3 into 4, as if 3 gave birth to all things. In an instant, it divided into tens of thousands of divine senses. The tens of thousands of divine senses stretched out like black glue. They were dense and intertwined like countless tentacles. They drilled into the fiend qi of the fiend qi and fiend qi of the fiend qi. Bang! With a sound, the fiend qi was swallowed up by the soul-devouring divine sense. The soul-devouring divine sense shrank back into Jiang Tian's mind. At the same time, the tree demon's huge trunk shook and cracked. Countless fragments fell from the sky like a heavy downpour. Immediately after, the entire ground of the valley seemed to have been flipped over. Countless roots jumped out of the ground like huge snakes, turning into pieces of black charcoal amidst the tumbling of the ground. Some roots didn't have time to jump out of the ground and completely collapsed. The ground directly collapsed into deep pits, the deepest of which was more than 10 meters deep. It was a shocking sight. Rumble. Finally, the tree demon's huge trunk fell to the ground powerlessly. The black charcoal pieces piled up into a small hill. At this moment, the whole place fell into a dead silence. This tree demon that had once wreaked havoc in the small world of stars for thousands of years, suppressed the sect leaders and killed dozens of eminent monks in the blink of an eye, was completely refined by Jiang Tian in a few seconds. His true essence became a furnace, the sun rose in the sky, and the fire dragons swallowed and spat. He refined the 1,000-year-old demon as if he were cooking a small fish. He did it. Is he still a human? Chu Yunxiu seemed to have been drained of all her energy. She became a clay statue and was stiff on the spot, motionless. This Kong Teichu is obviously from Earth. How can he be so powerful? The dozens of eminent monks of the demon-subduing temple were deeply shocked and full of disbelief. He's too powerful. Everyone looked at Jiang Tian, who was standing in the air and controlling the grand sun furnace, as if they were looking at a god. How is this possible? Even Master Pudu was dumbfounded. He felt like he was in a dream. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.